Good afternoon, croquet fans. We are live from Surbiton Croquet Club and we're about to watch the 2025 Open Championship Croquet Doubles Championship. I'll put you onto lawn 2 here and let's get some commentary up for you. Chris Clarke will be your commentator for this match. Sorry about the wibbly camera, there's a bit of wind going on here. I'll see if I can stabilise it a bit better for you. And your finalists for the Open Championship Doubles Association Croquet Final will be Clarke, and that's Jenny Clarke and Stephen Mulliner, versus James Deeth and Samir Patel. Enjoy your croquet afternoon, everyone, and thank you for watching. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Alison.
Quick word from me. Thank you very much for volunteering to commentate for this afternoon.
No problem.
We're now live. I'm hoping they might start soonish, although it looks like Samir's still got a coffee cup in hand.
Yeah.
So
Just finishing lunch.
sure.
So, for people tuning in, this is going to be the British Open Doubles final at Surbiton on the show lawn, lawn 2 in front of the clubhouse. And we're going to have defending champions James Deeth and Samir Patel playing Stephen Mulliner and Jenny Clarke. So Stephen and Jenny had a very good win this morning. They beat Mark Avery and Jamie Birch, who were the unbeaten pair in the last Matt Robertson Shield. So very strong pair. So good result for Stephen and Jenny. Jenny got to the final of this event a couple of years ago, partnering Alain Giraud. So they played very well together. We're likely, I think, to see both pairs play alternate stroke doubles. So for anyone tuning in from abroad who's never seen this before, you've got a choice now when you play in England. You can either play normal traditional doubles, where each player has one ball, and they play that ball throughout the game, or you can play alternate stroke, where basically the balls are just the team's balls and you just play one shot and then your partner plays a shot, and whatever you decide at the start of the match you've got to carry on for game 2, and if it goes to the third, game 3. And both these pairs have been tending to play alternate stroke. So you'll probably see 2 players on the lawn all the time, which is quite unusual in doubles. Weather's just starting to brighten up. We've had some rain. Still quite cloudy overhead, but the sun's breaking through. Lawns were quite brown to start with and probably running at about 12 seconds, but they've moved down to about 10 after some rain we've had. So not the hills showing not quite as much as they would normally do if it was 12 seconds. And generally, when you've got a break, you should be able to take it round. The final on lawn 2, and I played for 9 hours on lawn 2 yesterday, so I really ought to know it fairly well. And the key to it yesterday was hoop 2 and 1 back, and it was much firmer than all the other hoops, and it was amazing how many clips ended on hoop 2 or 1 back, particularly hoop 2, where you haven't quite got the break under control by then, and you were having to run it from maybe 10 degrees at 2 feet, and most people were failing it from there. So I anticipate a higher standard of play from the 4 people who've made it to the final. But James and Samir had a bit of a scare this morning. They only won the first game +3 against Nick Parrish and Sophie Madeleine. So probably a little bit of a let-off. James ended up shooting I think when peg alone against 4-back and peg, or penultimate peg or something like that, and missed the peg and hit the ball in the background. So that could easily have gone the other way. Really good tournament, both for Sophie and for Nick. Sophie's improved out of all recognition from the start of 2024. Now really quite a solid player. And Nick was incredibly good. He just hit every roquet he looked at under about 10 yards. And played nice tight breaks, good hoop approaches, and really made it as easy as possible as he could, playing alternate stroke. So very strong performance from Nick. He'll be very pleased, and great to see another younger lady coming through in the form of Sophie. So Samir's still got his coffee cup in hand. It's about 19-20 degrees here, and there's just a slight breeze. Lawn's still quite damp, really. Had heavy rain in patches during thunderstorms yesterday, and we had a more heavy short rain overnight. So they're not wet in any sort of, no puddles or anything, but they're far from dry either. And I think it'll take 2 days of this type of breeze and sunshine to dry them out. But we're expecting 28 by the end of the week. So by the time we get to the quarters and semis of the singles, I think they'll be quite interesting again. Particularly if we do get new hoop holes for the quarterfinals, that would be really good. Quarterfinals of the Opens, one of the best days to come down if you want to come and watch at Surbiton. Please do come down, you'll be most welcome. There's a bar here, and I'm sure they'll be open to you ringing a couple of days beforehand and saying, can I have lunch, and booking lunch. Always very good food at Surbiton. On the other lawns, we've got a mixture of some doubles plate, some doubles Z, and some early games in the singles. Not really the actual start of the singles proper, the Burridge Swiss, but some early Z games, just giving either doubles players some play or some people who haven't entered the doubles. So I think David Wise is playing Ewan Burridge on the lawn next door, lawn 3 at the moment. So good for them to get a bit of a hit before the singles starts in proper. I'm just trying to have a look at what might be the final of the doubles plate, which I think is between Mike Town and David Warhurst. And is it against Andy Myers and Joel Taylor? I think it might be. I think they might be playing best of 3 down on lawn 4. So David and Mike are having a pretty good run in that plate event. Meanwhile, James is getting the balls ready on lawn 2 for the final. Clip's about to go on hoop 1. One of the things that might happen to confuse people even further is they might decide to play super advanced. So the semi-final between Mark and Jamie and Stephen and Jenny, I think, might have been super advanced. So I know James always likes super. Jenny generally doesn't. So lots of things to find out. Are they both going to play alternate stroke? Is it going to be a normal advanced game, or will it be super advanced? So once we've got the toss, we'll try and find that information out. Just waiting. Yep, all 4 players ready now. Stephen regaling them with some sort of tale. So yesterday, to give you an idea of the pace of the lawns, I was struggling to take a 2-yard rush from corner 4 to hoop 2. I couldn't hit it hard enough to rush to hoop 2. And it's not just the speed of the lawns, it's the balls. The balls are not rushing anywhere near as the Dawsons that we would normally use here are, which are quite worn. These balls were very dead yesterday. Split shots not quite coming out at normal angles, and rushes being very dead. Whether it was a matter of the weather being a bit cooler at 19 degrees, I don't know. They played it okay at Nottingham, about 27, 28 degrees during the men's and women's. Still deader than old Dawson's, but sort of within an acceptable range. And yesterday they just started to get a bit squidgy, or dead rather than squidgy, because you could still play a stop shot with them.
Best of 3 super. We've won the toss, put them in.
Both alternate stroke?
Both alternate stroke.
Okay, thanks for that, James. So James has confirmed we're playing best of 3. Both teams are going to play alternate stroke, and it's going to be super advanced. So for those of you who don't know what super advanced is, it simply adds another lift hoop. So as well as 1 back and 4 back being lift hoops, hoop 4 becomes a lift hoop. So that means if you finish your break on hoop 5 or hoop 6, you give a lift away. If you take your first break round and you go to 4 back, because you've run 2 lift hoops, hoop 4 and 1 back, the opponents get the choice of a lift or a contact. And if for any reason, which I think is unlikely, either team were to make all 3 in one go, that would be a choice of a lift, a contact, or a lift to position. And a lift to position means you can pick your ball up and place it anywhere on the lawn, including inside the yard line. So you can give yourself a rush, even on a corner ball. So I don't think we'll see anyone making 3 lift hoops in a go, but it is possible. And there's a sort of exception to that, is that if you make 3 lift hoops in a go and you peg the opponent out, then you only give a lift or a contact rather than a lift to position. So we've got a fairly standard opening. Jenny's gone about 10 yards north of corner 4. Samir's gone just south of corner 2, and now Stephen will be trying to hit the yellow with the red. And if he does, Jenny will go on the lawn and will play the croquet stroke. That's how alternate stroke works. So that's missed on the left. Again, much better to miss on the left than the right. The balls end up further apart and no real double from A bulk. James tends to go to B bulk and take the long double. Yep, he's up there straight away. And at the men's and women's, I didn't see him miss one of these. It's never a shot I particularly fancy. And I think this lift shot moves about half a ball left to right. Again, depending on the speed at which you hit it. Surbiton lawns generally pretty flat for shooting on. Tend to get rolly when it's quick near hoops. So you can easily get your hoop approach rolling a ball and a half and giving you an angled hoop. So James is set up for a double target from the north boundary in front of hoop 3. He's played really well at the men's and women's. His shooting was good, he struck that well, and he's missed on the right. So won't be off in the corner. And now it'll be Jenny's turn. And she'll probably rush the yellow nearer to the black. So there won't be any sort of James is playing black, Samir's playing blue. They're both playing both balls. Next time black and blue come on the lawn, Samir will play. And here you've got a couple of options, really. You can deliberately rush south of black to enable you to have room to stop yellow into the lawn, or you can try for a bit of a gamble and try and rush it for a cannon. And that's finished in lawn, so perfect weight to get a cannon, but in lawn means there won't be one. Stephen's got just enough room to squeeze past the black to get a rush to hoop 1, but he can only move yellow a couple of feet. So nice dolly rush to hoop 1. It's a cut rush. Going to be joined by Robin Brown. Welcome,
Yes.
Robin. And you're a singles only player for this event, aren't you?
That's correct, yes.
Robin had a really good start to the President's Cup last year, 7 out of 8. Was looking well in contention. You were striking the ball so well; it was all smooth and relaxed, and you looked really good.
2 days.
So just maybe half a ball short there.
Yeah, she should be fine.
Not jumping, so she looks confident here.
And the problem is you've got less control of where it finishes, so you may not get. But she's actually got the rush back to yellow.
Yeah.
Reasonably, so that's
Yeah.
good.
So just a minor cut on the left. It's more or less straight at yellow.
Yeah.
But again, if you can just rush it south, he'll be able to do more with the black. Stephen is fiddling at the moment. He's fiddling with his technique. You'll see him do a bit of casting, a bit of grounding the mallet, sometimes casting it multiple times, and he's just trying to find something that sort of works on the day.
The result is that he's perhaps not quite as confident on those like 2-yard, 3/4 ball cuts.
Yeah, and one of the things I was saying before we started, I was saying I struggled yesterday to take a 2-yard rush from corner 4 to hoop 2. So if Jenny doesn't get a sort of 2-foot rush, I think Stephen will struggle with the power.
Yeah.
So it's actually only a foot away, so it should be, he should have enough power, but this will be on his limit. That's nowhere near.
Overcut for a start.
Yeah. And it's missed hoop 6, so that's handy. Jenny will now roll that behind hoop 2 going to blue, so a sort of pass roll. Stephen will hit probably 4-yarder he's left with, and Jenny will play the shot sending blue to 3, getting in front of 2. But these balls very easy to pass roll. You see Jenny's moved to the fist at the bottom. That shows she's playing a pass roll.
Yep.
A nice shot, nice ratio.
Yep. Yellow's nicely placed. Yeah.
And that's within 4 yards, isn't it?
Yeah. Should be no problem. But
just a little bit of a nervy one at the start. You can see he's got this, is he casting, is he grounding?
well, he's hit it, so he's fine. But
And Stephen's played very well for the last few days, and he played well in the Golf Croquet Open as well. Really started to find his shooting boots, really. He's so good positionally that he's always in a game of golf croquet, but his shooting's been a bit suspect. And he really managed to hit a few good shots and took Reg very close in the semi-final.
impressive.
So not a great contact there. Blue should be 8 yards further than that.
Yeah.
Really
It's
good
a pretty
red
good
though.
red. I'm quite happy with that.
So
In fact, with red being there, blue's actually
perfect.
turned out to be pretty ideal.
Yeah. The reason we're saying blue should be further is
Whereas if you don't get in front, you don't want to leave a short shot to yellow.
yeah. So this was the difficult hoop yesterday, Robin. We had so many clips on 2 and 1 back on this lawn.
Right.
It was so much firmer than all the hoops. Stevens just flicked through it.
And it should be away now.
It wasn't particularly narrow. When we did run it, we tended to run it very cleanly. But when we hit it,
Was it just firmer than the others?
absolutely, it was
Okay.
light in concrete at the start of yesterday.
I see.
A bit more overnight rain may have just softened the ground a bit more.
Okay.
But Jenny's in good nick now.
Yep.
This should be a good
Just
opportunity.
don't put it somewhere where the hoop's in the way.
Yep. I think that's
I think
good.
she's okay.
Maybe not. Maybe it's
Well,
gone
hoop
south
two's
of
in
the hoop.
play.
Interesting.
I'd have probably been hitting that another couple of yards just to guarantee that the hoop 2 wasn't in play.
Yeah. Again, the problem is the
I mean, it makes the
balls-
croquet stroke a little bit more difficult, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, the croquet stroke with my word, he's playing this shot. This is huge.
What?
Remember, old Stephen, took every opportunity possible to play a big role. He just loved them. But his power's been substantially reduced over the past few years.
Oh, I wouldn't be doing that. Because for one thing, I wouldn't necessarily particularly fancy the takeoff back to blue anyway.
Yeah, it's going across the rush line, isn't it, the
Yeah.
takeoff back? Jenny's very good at this length, so he'd be very
Well,
confident.
Yeah, the Roquet's fine, but there didn't seem any need to do that.
It's certainly one way of getting a hoop 4 pioneer,
Well, yeah,
but he's still got to make hoop 3.
you'd have been sending a hoop 4 pioneer anyway.
And again, Stephen's got very good touch, so Stephen playing the takeoff is a positive.
seemed like a reasonably natural croquet stroke approaching blue along the rush line.
Yeah, I know. Have you played with these balls?
I don't think I have, no.
Okay, you're going to notice shots that you're confident about playing because you've played them thousands of times before. You're going to suddenly think,
Ooh, what happened
what
there?
happened there?
Yeah,
And they react consistently,
but differently.
yeah.
Okay.
This is
Bear
short.
that in mind.
This is short.
It is. Yeah, that was
I'll
always the
be
risk.
really disappointed with that. Now Jenny's managed to hit it on the right side just to help the approach a wee bit. And Stephen will probably send blue a fair way south approaching this with the drive.
Yeah, I'd be putting this ball close to peg high probably.
It's a good approach.
Yeah.
And he knows Jenny will be happy running this by 8 yards than running it by 3 yards.
Of course. But it can be amazing the difference that the different type of balls can make.
Yeah.
I remember one year we turned up to the chairman's, having all of us played with Dawson's for 2 or 3 years, and like that. I would be confronted with us playing with 4 sets of brand new jakes.
Ah, a long time ago then.
Oh yeah, this was 20 years ago.
So Jenny's just crawled through hoop 3.
The outcome of some of the croquet strokes on the first morning were a bit weird.
And particularly with new jakes, they have new sets each year with a different letter on them, and they all reacted slightly differently. So in case people don't know, we're playing with Invictus balls here, and Invictus are the new ball on the market made by the Fletchers, and the positive about them...
Anyone got any markers? On me.
I haven't.
Yeah, okay. Just 2.
So yeah, the Invictus balls made by the Fletchers, and the good things about them are they're the roundest ball on the market. So obviously you think, well, all balls are round, but no, these are more round than any other ball that's available. They look very nice. They're quite heavily milled, so there's a lot more pull with these than any other ball I've played with since the original Dawson balls in 1993. Over the last couple of days, people have started to say the croquet strokes are acting differently. Yep, they are, but they're consistent. More worryingly, the rushes are sort of not getting a full contact. So the back ball's a bit rising up and you're losing power. And that is starting to cause concern. We're still trying to work out which set of balls is the best. Which should we use for them at Robertson Shield last year? Which balls should be recommending to clubs as the best balls? And one of the other downsides with the Invictus is they're the most expensive. That's missed, and it's finished about 6 yards away from black. So I think black will probably just shoot at red here. It can immediately put red to hoop 2, probably getting a rush on yellow to blue. So that's our first error, and a particularly relevant error because the clip's now on hoop 4. Why is it relevant? Because hoop 4 is a lift hoop now, so if they just make 1 or 2 hoops next turn, they're giving a lift away. So hoop 4 is not a great hoop to break down on. So again, I mentioned Samir would play that. Did it look difficult, that, Robin?
Not particularly, no.
He had a clean swing and he just missed it.
Clean swing, and he hit it on the surprising side.
Oh, right. Missed it on the difficult side. Okay. So Samir's pretty solid at this distance. In the middle. So I was saying, my way of picking this up is to stop red towards 2. You're probably going to get it 90% of the way there. Get a rush on yellow to blue, rush blue to hoop 1, and then you get to make hoop 1 off partner, which is always a nice thing in case you make a mistake.
Exactly. That looks like the natural way to pick this up.
And whilst I might be only able to get red 90% of the way there, James can get it all the way there easily.
Yep. Well, he's doing it the other way. He's trying to get the rush on yellow to hoop 1 directly.
He is. That's surprising.
It's surprising because Well, I mean, hoop four's in play for a
Yeah.
start. I'm getting that rush, so I would have been doing the same as you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go for a rush to blue.
James has got one of the best stop shots in the world.
Oh yes.
So I don't think Samir and James will leave yellow where it's going to finish here.
No.
It's too dangerous to leave
Well,
it
it's
near
right by
red. So it'll be a roll probably towards corner 3 with yellow,
Yeah.
rather than corner 4.
But yeah, but a rush to blue would have been much nicer.
Yeah, I think it's an easier shot if you roll yellow towards... No, he's playing
Going
it
up
towards corner
corner
4. I think this is more difficult.
Well, it depends on what shots you like.
Looks good. And
Yeah,
this is
that's
the
nice.
sort of slightly longer rush I've been talking about. It's about a 5-footer.
So you can't just stroke it. You've actually got to give it
You've got
give
to-
it a bit of oomph.
Yeah, I have to extend my backswing for that now. It's not just within my normal stroke.
And then you have the potential for losing accuracy. of course.
Absolutely. And some people will say, well, that favours the people with better technique who can actually hit it harder. And yeah, you're right. But we're not only thinking about the elite players here. We're trying to think about club players who, you know, are maybe handicaps 8 and 9 and 12. And we don't want to make the game too difficult for them either. We want balls that react well. So just a fraction short.
Yeah. But as you said, it's off partner, so it's not a massive disaster if you fail it. I mean, you do give a shot away, but at least it's nothing short or nothing trivial.
Exactly, yeah.
Good shot.
And hit that remarkably gently.
Yep.
I would have hit that probably with 3 or 4 yards more pace on an Atkins, but Samir's obviously found some sort of nice, gentle hoop stroke, which
If it
ties
works,
in
it
with his
works.
first roquet as well.
Yeah.
That 5-yarder he hit very gently, dead in the middle. So now we've got a standard break, and
Yep,
you've
should be taking this. I would imagine they would be taking it to a 4-back.
Is it-
The contact leave, most likely.
you've played. Well, I've played virtually no super advanced.
Yeah.
So normally we would think a ball to 4-back with contact. Is there an argument that given they're on 1 and 4 already, the opponents, that you don't really want them TPOing you and you should stop at 3-back?
Possibly. I mean, to be honest, in relatively easy conditions against good players, I'd tend to stop at 3-back even if they were on 1 and 1.
Okay.
I just think it's just nicer because, like you said, you avoid being TPO'd. You also give yourself the option of, if you get in with your forward ball, you can make 1 hoop and a non-lift leave.
Yeah.
Which can be quite powerful.
So I mean,
It depends how confident you are of the quad, to a certain extent.
indeed. And the other thing I was thinking about here is, should you be peeling yellow through hoop 1? Because if you can leave a ball 7 yards north of corner 1, and it's a nice area of the lawn for you to leave an opponent ball in. Then it's your hoop and it's not their hoop, and you potentially lay up, you know, corners 2 and 3 and red down in corner 4, and it's a nice leave then.
They've got sufficient control to do it.
Yeah, the alternative is you just leave yellow there, and it doesn't matter that it's yellow's hoop.
Yeah. Here, red over there, and then
You don't want to do the normal thing, which is a contact leave where you're across corner 4,
no.
because red's
Two
on
near
hoop
hoop
4.
four.
So they'll almost certainly
You can do
have...
the same thing across hoop 2.
You can, but I don't think you should do that with yellow on hoop 1. So I think they'll split up. I think the opponents will be in corners 2 and 3. So they'll be in 2 and 3 at the end of the turn. Red will be down towards corner 4, and yellow will be
a
off
few
the white.
yards up the west
Exactly.
boundary.
Yeah, west boundary, 7 or 8 yards north of hoop 1 is the leave that looks obvious to me. But I say I haven't played a lot of super, so I'm sort of having to think on the go. But it should be a fairly basic 4-ball break.
I mean, the alternative is to go to 4-back with the contact and peel yellow through 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's more difficult with yellow at hoop 4 already.
True.
You'd normally send it there after hoop 3. So I think it might just be a basic ball to 4-back and a contact leave.
Could be.
Nothing wrong in that first turn of the final with a break. Just settle and make sure you go round. That Pioneer's finished
A bit
well short.
That shouldn't be too much of a problem because you can just send red across there. It just limits what you can do with the control for getting the peel if you want it.
Yeah.
What are your views on alternate stroke?
I'm completely open to alternate stroke. I think it's nice to liaise with your partner and try and work to each other's strengths and combat your weaknesses. And when Jenny and myself practice at our home club at United in Christchurch, probably 50% of our practice is doing alternate stroke triples.
Okay. I certainly see that as you've seen. I'm not very fond of playing it myself. I just find it hard to get into any kind of rhythm on the playing the break.
Yeah.
And I also miss the old doubles tactics of worrying about who's going to play and can you force a particular player to play and all that sort of thing.
That to me is the weakness.
Yeah.
You can't target a specific ball going, well, that's James's ball or that's Samir's ball. We want them to play.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I don't like about it.
It's less crucial at this level.
Yeah.
But when you play, for instance, alternate strokes at the counties, for instance, a lot of the sort of doubles tactics in the counties were, can you force the particular players to play?
Absolutely.
You lose that completely. And although the one thing that I particularly don't like is when one pair's playing alternate stroke and the other player isn't. And you see, you're playing a game where the two pairs are playing a completely different game.
Which is exactly what happened in our semi-final yesterday when Ian Burridge and myself played normal advanced, one ball each, and Nick Parrish and Sophie Madeleine played alternate stroke. And I had a very simple reason for doing that, which is I can't be on my feet for that long.
Fair point.
I want to be sat down.
Yeah.
My back being on my feet for as long as it might be for a whole game of alternate stroke just won't manage it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if other people want to do it, my view about most things in the sport is if the players want to do it, the officials should try and accommodate it.
Yeah,
but there's been no move in America, Australia or New Zealand to even experiment with it. And I was asked yesterday, I had them at Robertson Shield meeting on Saturday, are they going to play it in the MAC? We didn't even discuss it. It's a non-starter.
Yeah. Well, it's similar to what happened with Super Advanced, which was that we experimented with it for a number of years and nobody else was remotely interested in doing anything.
Exactly. And arguably, and this is very much a question that divides people, did English players get worse in them at Robertson Shield because they weren't used to making lift leaves?
I mean, I didn't actually see them play in the MAC, so I can't really comment on how they were playing in the MAC.
Now the leaves they were making in 2013-17 were just not up to scratch. So many balls had open 10-yarders and open 7-yarders. And Croquet England actually made a sort of diktat before the 2022 MAC. No, everything is normal advanced this year.
Yeah.
And they obviously won the next one. So
yes, I mean that is the big criticism of Super Advanced, is that once people had figured out the standard contact leave, it's just too easy to make.
It's too easy to make for everyone, and there isn't that variety of lift leaves that you might make, hoop leaves, balls on hoops, and I think that's one of the nice, elegant parts of top-level croquet is to make a nice leave with balls on hoops, and it's less part of Super Advanced.
Yeah, I mean, when we originally introduced Super Advanced, the idea that there would be more variety of tactics in people stopping at 1 back or stopping at 4 back, and you had a lot more variety of whole game strategies to adopt. But in the event, everyone the vast majority of people settled on one.
Yeah, and the other thing that's happened is we've started to use quadways in more of our top events. And there are more errors now. So there are less 6th turn, 5th turn, 26 TPs.
Which, when we introduced Super Advanced, was becoming the norm across practically everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alison.
So, yeah, hopefully, we will get either a bit more variety in what people do in Super, or the fact that we're using quadways will actually create that little bit more interest. And people can go on to croquet scores, can't they? And just look at some of the scores we've had in these doubles games. They've been all over the place. I can't think of many 26-0s that we've had in the doubles.
Well, when I first played in the President's Cup, which would be in the 2000s, time, I think there were, you could count on one hand the number of games that didn't have a appealing turn or anything like that.
Yeah.
But last year in the Pres, I don't think there were any rounds that went with 4 quick 26 TPs, which in the past that would be happening all the time.
Right.
I don't know whether that's the general standard, or is it the quadways, or is it?
We've still got. I mean, okay, it wasn't the strongest President's Cup last year.
No, there were a few missing names.
But it's still a group of players who regularly finish with TPs, and we didn't. And the lawns were about as easy as you're going to get them.
They were.
So I think certainly the quadways have an impact, and even if it's just making one more error per game, that's a significant change.
Definitely.
At this level.
Anyway, should we go back to see what's going on in the actual game?
And they've done the first thing which I suggested they might, which is they made one back and they've immediately got partner to corner 2.
Yeah, which is standard for pretty much normal contact leads, is what you would normally do.
We think the striker's ball's going to finish in corner 3 at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
And the only question we've got is, are they going to make 3 back, or are they going to stop on 3 back? And that, so far, we don't know. It depends on where red's going to be spent after the rush. And that looks like they're stopping at 3 back. James hasn't given Samir a shot to load 3 back going to yellow. So that's a deliberate decision to stop having run 2 back.
Which means he's probably going to put red back over here so that he can then position yellow.
And then rush yellow towards, rush red towards corner 4 and go to corner 3. So very much the leave we mentioned was likely.
I think that's probably correct. I think that's right. I like the stopping at 3 back in Super Advanced. I think it's got a lot of merit.
And we know Stephen likes TPOing. Equally, Jenny probably isn't the strongest peeler. Her strengths lie in other areas.
Well, and a if they're going to have to do a QPO, that's particularly adventurous.
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely.
So they're going to be faced with a contact turn coming up.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any obvious reason to take your lift. I guess you might decide to cut a ball a foot out of corner 3 with your first shot instead of taking contact from it. But we'll look at what they might be doing once we've got the balls, so you can actually see them on your picture. So trying to get a rush on red to corner 4.
Okay.
And there isn't actually a need to rush this to the corner, is there? You could rush this 7 yards north of the corner and it's still
fine. They would probably prefer to play red anyway.
Yeah, I think the viewers will see when the balls are actually in their final position that red and yellow are going to come on the lawn with nothing other than the innings. There's going to be no even quite difficult break to pick up. The question is, can they make a leave where they leave a ball somewhere west of hoop 1 and something west of hoop 4 and then joined up on the northern part of the lawn? And even doing that is going to be really, really difficult.
He's successfully made corner 3 anyway.
So just trying to think of options here. You know, you could take croquet from red and send black to hoop 4 and join up with yellow, leaving yellow rush to hoop 1.
Thank you, Alison. Yep.
So they're not doing that. I thought that was quite a good option. So put blue to.
They're playing with yellow.
I suppose
and black.
You're laying up at yellow's hoop, blue's hoop. So that's a bad choice actually. So they're going to put the forward ball to hoop 1, I think, and they're going to try and get to red. And they are doing the chopping black a foot out the corner option. So this is a lift rather than a contact.
Yes.
Just simply to get 1 foot closer to further south. And they're taking off.
To red.
So just
Presumably moving black another 3 or 4 yards out the corner.
yeah,
Or perhaps not even that.
I actually think moving it 2 yards is better than 4 yards, because when blue shoots at black, if they're 4 yards apart, it's almost a mini wide join.
Yeah, I suppose.
Whereas if they're 2 yards apart, you can get any rush you want. And we think they're going to lay up in corner 4, don't we? Because they're going to want to take red round rather than yellow.
Presumably. I mean, that would be... I mean, the only reason for taking yellow round is if they really fancied the QPO, but I don't think that's unlikely.
I'll be amazed if Jenny gets talked into a QPO.
No, doesn't seem like her style, really. I think Stephen, left to himself, would be fancying it.
I think that's right. I've been very much engrossed in my own doubles matches for quite a long time for the last 2 days, so it feels to me as if the standard of play isn't actually very good. But there have been some triples and some third turn balls round. I think we had a 4th turn TPO yesterday.
Nice.
I think James had a 4th turn TPO. So there is some good croquet going on. Equally, I am seeing multiple errors in most games, and I don't want to be giving 4 hoops to my opponent when I'm probably going to be breaking down.
No, I mean,
So they're doing the opposite of what we said again here. They're not laying up at red soup, they're laying up at yellow soup. I don't understand
She's
why.
also blue soup.
Which is also blue soup. And the natural, if they want to take a shot, the natural shot here is blue at black.
Yeah.
I would play blue to corner 4.
Yes, I remember you saying during the press that you felt that people almost felt obliged to shoot in this position.
Yep.
Whereas if they were presented with this position in the middle of a regular game, they probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a target.
I
for
think
black,
there's a
isn't it?
legitimate... Black's got almost a perfect double. Black will not take that for 3 back.
It's too far.
Yeah, blue could take that. It's got about 3 balls between it, and yellow hasn't got enough room to get blue to hoop 2 and hold on red. It would probably
Is
put
James taking a shot as well?
It would probably put blue to hoop 2 and turn around and hit red and approach from where it is. But the natural shot is blue at black for English croquet players. I think it's wrong. I want to be more defensive. Certainly worth discussing this position.
Absolutely.
I think there are 4 legitimate options. Samir probably a little bit more defensive than James. Will corner a little bit more.
Most people are a little bit more defensive than James, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think James might be fancying blue at them.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable. It's not a very well guarded boundary.
No.
Admittedly, you can just approach hoop 1 from where red is. I think there's a slight hill right to left.
But at that distance, that shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Particularly with the pace of the lawns at the moment. So he's taking this as a double. Looking at it, and in the middle gets yellow. And even with James's stop shot,
Well, he's not getting this to hoop 2.
can't get it 2-2. Will he opt to maintain hold for the rush on red, or will he just get a proper hoop 2 pioneer and approach from there?
Interesting.
Again, one of the great things about alternate stroke is you don't just do something. You ask your partner, what are we going to do? Who's going to be playing the approach? Who's going to be playing the hoop stroke? So you both need to work that out. And this looks to me as if Samir's going to hold for a rush on red and put yellow more or less towards the peg. James has spotted that you don't want to be rushing yellow to black. Oh, you do actually, because it's a quad, so you do want to make hoop 2 off black. So putting yellow to the peg is actually not that unreasonable.
You don't have to make hoop 2 off black. You can, if you can get a hoop 3 pioneer, you can send black up to hoop 4 before 3.
You can. You're going to have to play quite a big croquet stroke, aren't you? Loading 3, holding for a rush on yellow.
Yeah.
Whereas your other option is just to get a tight rush on yellow to black, and you can probably stop a ball halfway to hoop 3 holding for black. They moved it out a few feet, didn't they?
Alternatively, you can put red really close to yellow so that you can get as dolly a rush to the corner 3 as possible.
Yeah, that's very much what I was suggesting. The peg's not in play. It's probably
Well,
about
not if you get a really tight rush, it's not.
2 feet. James is wanting space here. And when James gives himself 3 yards of space, it's putting out almost a ball to hoop 4. He's got wonderful back ball control, James. So expect Samir to get a...
Before?
James is already looking at peeling before, after hoop 2. Needs to go. That's a bit of a cut.
That's tricky.
So that's aiming the wrong side of the peg at the moment. Samir needs to cut it and miss the peg by about 2 feet on the left.
If he gets this close to black, this is a good shot. Very good shot if he gets this near.
Overcut it.
That's...
As long as it gets off the lawn, it's okay.
It's not too bad.
It's okay. Just made it.
Yeah. Well, he's probably going to... Do you do much with yellow here?
I think James will.
Yeah.
He's got the room behind black. He's not worried about going off the lawn.
No.
So he should be able to get yellow yards into the lawn. He's just really good at this shot. I mean...
Yeah, that's pretty good. No, he's looking to get a rush to hoop 4, rush to 3 back after hoop 2 if he can.
Yeah. And people say, well, why is James such a good croquet player? And to me, it's those little shots and having complete control within a 3-yard area. He knows his ball's going to stop within an inch of that 3 yards, and he gets constant good positions.
Yes. I mean, hitting 25 and 30 yarders on a regular basis is reasonably good as well.
It helps.
I've never had too much problem with James. It's one of the quirks of results is that I've been playing against James for 30 years, and I've got a reasonably good winning record against him.
Well,
It's still a positive record against him.
one of the things about James is he tends to just do whatever he wants to do, and it tends to be 3 times more difficult and exciting than it needs to be. And we probably shouldn't criticise someone who plays the game largely for fun.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, James likes winning.
He does.
But he likes having fun doing it as well.
And he's one of those players which, if he's playing well and in the mood, he's virtually unplayable.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a poor shot from Samir. He'd opted to put black as a hoop 4 pioneer and get a rush on red back north.
Yeah, and he didn't get the rush.
Yeah, didn't get the rush. Another thing you could have done...
He could have put black behind 3 back.
Correct. And
looking for the peel before.
Yeah. So I think that's what Rob would have done there.
Yeah.
The reason they chose not to was yellow's not a perfect hoop 3 pioneer. So they just wanted to get a rush up there to tidy it up. And Samir's played something that's a tiny bit short.
Doesn't look too bad, actually. I think James can cut that in front reasonably comfortably. Yeah.
That's a good shot.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a possibility of peeling black before 3 back, but it requires a good rush.
Yeah. I wouldn't go for it there.
No,
I wouldn't go
it's too
for
far
it.
away. And red's quite a long way away as well.
Yeah.
But it is just so much nicer to get that peel done before.
Very much so.
3 back makes the rest of the break considerably easier.
That's a big stop shot. I'm not sure he wanted quite as good a stop shot as that. So made that look a bit easier than Jenny did, although Jenny's was a bit longer. So the first peel of the match about to be tried, and I mentioned earlier that I'd found these balls pulling up to 4 times more than I might allow on some other different types of ball.
That's considerable.
And again, if you looked at that hoop 5 Pioneer, that hoop 5 Pioneer pulled a long way. James hasn't tried to put it there. He's tried to put it another 2.5 feet further west.
Yeah. Although that's not necessarily a bad place for it. I'd quite like it a bit nearer the hoop maybe, but it's...
And by putting red where he is, he's not playing a straight peel, is he?
Well,
He's playing the power up to 4-back peel.
which is reasonably sensible in a quad, because it does make getting the 4-back peel considerably easier.
Yep.
If you only peel it by a yard or two, then you've got a bit of a problem about when exactly you're going to do the 4-back peel.
If he ends up peeling from 2.5 feet, judging the pull is going to be difficult. They're going to want to peel from 9 inches. So first thing you want to do is make sure you don't rush black directly in front of hoop 4. So he's done that well.
But he wants to leave black not too far past the hoop here.
That's a long way past. He needs to probably
Can he
run
go
it past
and
it.
cut it back?
I think so. No, not
No,
quite
not
far
from
enough.
there, he's not.
So this is far enough away to make the pull slightly difficult to judge. I'm going to be aiming fractionally outside the middle of the wire, I think. Possibly just the outside of the wire.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this is outside of the wire to me, where I'm aiming black. I can't remember another type of ball where I would have allowed that amount of pull.
No, I'd be only living about...
And that which wire did that hit? I'm not
I
sure.
think that hit the near wire.
Right.
That
So
pulled more than he was expecting.
yeah, and it's finished in an ugly place as well.
That's
I think.
not good.
Don't think it's rush peelable.
No.
And James is going to have to rush red quite a long way west to send out a hoop 6 Pioneer.
Well, I mean, if it's who's going to be playing the croquet stroke?
Samir.
Ah,
So we haven't got the big stop shot,
no, because I think James would be okay
He
just
could
hitting
just
red
tap it.
gently and
Yeah.
tap it, and he'd be all right.
but not Samir. And this is why I'm thinking people are struggling with peeling turns. That shot, which would normally have jawsed or better, has suddenly finished somewhere really ugly. And that, to me, is that a decision?
That's sending red back as an
Correct.
escape ball for the peel before 6, isn't it?
Oh,
Oh, no, it's
apparently
not.
not. So this is using yellow as the hoop 6 Pioneer.
Yes.
I just give up here. I'm just going to be honest. I just go, right, this is a ball to 4-back.
four-back. A ball to the peg.
Sorry, yeah. And yeah, maybe get a peel to 4-back.
But even then, that's not critical.
It's not critical. Always nice to be off the opponent's hoop.
Yep.
Give you a safe corner to lay up if you need to later
Well, I mean,
on.
sending red as an escape ball for the peel before 6 is playable here.
It is. I think they're trying to peel firmly, which is why they're happy with. Oh no, actually he's given that. So, because it's very much to the east, you would have to rush the peel quite a long way. You can't sort of peel it from dead straight now, can you? With red
Not
quite
comfortably.
narrow,
Not unless you bring it back a foot.
and that's a little bit under approached.
Yeah. And then where do you put yellow? Because you're not... particularly now.
I'd play a break to the peg now.
Yeah.
Rush this east, send it to 1-back, go to red, ignore black. And I think
Which
that's
looks
what
like
they're doing.
That's what looks like the plan here. And yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a sensible thing to do from here.
So then you move into this interesting question. These balls are clearly more difficult to play with. Given the fact that people at the top level have been moaning for 25 years about the game being too easy, is this a suitable ball for the top level of players? Is it going to differentiate the elite from the good? Or should we be going, no, it's a bit too difficult to play with, there'll be less big peeling turns, club players will find it more difficult to play 3 and 4 hoop breaks with. play golf croquet clearances hard with.
Yeah, but you don't want to having a one type of ball for the elite players and a
You
different
don't.
one for every. You can't do that,
No.
really.
So there are definite question marks coming up about, is this going to be the right ball for croquet clubs in the UK? Great metrics on it, really good roundness stats. You pick one up brand new, it looks lovely. You know the Dawson balls have the seam around them?
Yeah.
These have no seam. This is a beautiful ball to look at.
I've never really noticed the Dawson seam having much of an effect in practice. It's an aesthetic issue. But the question is, how long will it take the elite or top players below the elite to adapt?
Well, I think all the shots are fundamentally, well, lots of the shots are fundamentally more difficult, i.e. you need more power. And I think that's not necessarily a good thing. And Sunshinies, we've got Sunshinies, perfectly acceptable ball. Cheapest ball on the market. So there are options at the moment. I understand that Peter Coles, who makes the Hoopmaker mallet,
Oh yeah.
is about to produce a new ball as well. So, interesting time in the game. Lots of the clubs in England have got very nice Dawson balls that they've had 15 years. And they're really good still.
Yeah.
But they're getting more and more worn every year, particularly the primary colours. So if you're a club member anywhere in the world and you're just going down to a hack around, go and play with second colours. Wear them out.
Yeah.
It becomes very difficult when you've got a set of primaries that are smaller than the set of secondaries because the milling's more worn.
Do they have a look at the straight quad here?
James will definitely have a go, won't he?
Yes, he will.
Just little shots like that is so well played. So well played. Beautiful hoop approach. So, lovely rush over there. All the other balls over there should be able to peel from 2 inches dead straight. Probably with an Irish peel.
Oh, I would have thought so.
Another feature of this lawn is that hoop 6 and penultimate face quite an unusual direction. So if you're doing a straight double peel and it goes through without any wire, it will finish 2 yards west of Rover.
Well, it's just the hoop's offset or something.
Hoop is offset. It's pointing in the wrong direction. So if they manage to get the straight quad going well and they get the first 2 peels, we might get to see that straight penult peel. Nobody in our lawn was good enough to try a peel at penult yesterday.
I prefer to be able to put yellow a bit further up the lawn than that.
I like having a genuine side ball, so if you crawl through by a few mil, you can hit yellow. I know the people who go, oh well, I'm going to play an Irish peel, my ball's going to go through by 3 yards.
It doesn't always.
It doesn't always, and if it does, I'll hit a 3-yarder back.
Well, it's not so much hitting the 3-yarder back, it's that I'd rather not have to kind of sort of play the role to approach red from up near 3 back.
Yeah, it is.
Prefer to be playing it from a bit closer to get a bit more control for the straight triple. As ever, it depends how far black goes through.
It does.
Which is
so they're leaving yellow as a side ball, so my option.
Yep.
And he's not happy with that.
No, is black in a position where he can tickle it into the jaws, or
They definitely looked at an angled rush peel. So I think you can get this into the front of the jaws.
yeah, which would be handy. Probably okay.
Has it bounced back a little bit our way?
It's bounced back, but I think it's bounced back straight in front,
Okay.
which is
So yeah, lining up the peel. And tell the listeners how you line this up, Robin.
I'd be looking down the edge. If this is dead straight, I'm looking down the edges of the ball to make sure that it's missing whatever is the near wire of where it is, or if it's dead straight, make sure it's missing both wires on both edges.
Exactly. So the reason we do this is lots of people look down the middle of the two balls.
You can't judge it accurately enough.
And what I tell people is, okay, look at that building over there and point at the middle of it. And they'll say, well, that's the middle of it. I say, are you sure? If we measured it, would you be within 1 mil? And no, they're not confident. They won't have a bet with me that it's exactly the middle. And then I say, well, tell me where the edge of the building is. Are you confident about that? Yes, I am confident that the edge is there.
Dead right.
So it's a defined point. So look down the edge, left edge, and it should be inside the left-hand wire. Look down the right-hand edge, and it should be inside the right-hand
Well,
wire.
that's if it's dead straight.
Yeah.
If it's a bit of an angle, you're only really interested in the near wire.
So has he got the pace right?
That looks quite good.
He'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Hasn't gone through a great direction, but the length was good.
No. Oh yeah, there are lots of worse places where black could have ended up.
Yep.
That's not bad at all. Now, if you wanting to position, has he pushed that in the way that 3-back's in the way?
I think it's just about okay. You can just squeeze past it.
Right. Because we're wanting to put this somewhere probably between 4-back and penalt
I would.
as an escape ball for the
bombard.
bombard.
Yeah.
Ideally dropping slightly short of red so that he can rush it a bit nearer to black.
You're really keen. Red, the back ball getting a rush on red is more important than exactly
yes,
where
absolutely.
yellow
Because
goes.
yellow anywhere in that general vicinity you can cope with. That's a bit nearer penalt than I would like.
I agree. And interesting that even Samir sort of lost his balance trying to get a little bit more oomph into
Yeah.
that shot. He's played it well for blue. Blue's
Yeah.
good.
Very good.
Another dead rush there. I'm sure James would have been wanting to be miles closer to black than that.
Yes. Right.
This
so
is
we
going to
want-
be quite a wide bombard ball,
Yeah,
isn't
we
it?
can't put it tight accurately enough to go tight.
Yeah, particularly with the amount of pull we're getting.
That looks a bit.
Yeah, red's
It's
okay.
probably
though.
okay.
Red's okay.
This wants to be rushed to close in front. That looks pretty
Looks
good.
good, doesn't it?
That's very good.
And this time you wouldn't Irish, I don't think. This time you play a stop shot peel.
I'd play a stop shot peel. I'm probably playing it with the pace to. The
Jaws?
blue will even stop in the jaws.
Jaws, I think's nice.
Yeah.
If you're confident with the ground around the hoop, it's probably worth risking the jaws.
So I remember Matthew Essick in the World's Final. Towards the end of his sextuple attempt, he tried to play this shot, leaving the ball in the jaws, and it just dribbled through by half an inch.
He did. You're quite
And then
right.
he couldn't see anything helpful.
Yeah, I think he had to hit Healy again.
He did.
So yeah, that's was a big turning point in the match.
Absolutely.
And we've got another World Championship this October in
Yes.
Florida.
Indeed,
So,
we have.
a chance for Matthew to get his third part of the Grand Slam.
I thought you were about to say his third runners-up medal.
No, third part of the Grand Slam. We actually got, I think, 3 Americans potentially going to do that. Certainly Ben's got a chance. Blake's got a chance. Remember, he almost knocked Robert Fulford out of the World's
did.
Round 1 last year. So that's all to look forward to in October.
Yeah, and actually Thomas Balding should have beaten Robert as well.
And Tom's getting better all the time. He's becoming very, very strong.
Yeah.
Right, so this peel we think won't be Irish, so we think blue won't run it in the same shot. And he'll try and peel black to a position where red, he's overhit that.
Oh, that's too hard. That's much too hard.
So
You don't want to put black more than a yard or 2 through there.
do you think that was a deliberate decision and they're
I
actually...
think it must have been, because otherwise why'd hit it that hard?
Yeah. So ideally, black would have gone through by about 4 feet.
Yeah.
Blue runs it by a foot, hits red. Red cannons black over towards Penult going to
going
yellow.
to yellow. But he can't do that now.
No. So he'll be rushing black in front and playing a firm peeling shot going to yellow.
Yeah.
Or putting red as an escape ball to the side and playing a straight Irish peel from 2 yards, which would be my preference.
Yes, I wouldn't be trying to put red up to rover at this point.
No, you want an escape ball, side ball, good shot again.
That's
this
very
side.
good. Oh, has he put red on the centre line?
He's putting it on the centre line. It's nowhere near as good as a side ball. And you say it's not on the centre line, it's left of centre. But I've just
because of the offset of the hoop,
yeah,
the hoop offset.
That is very much where I think the peel might go through. I don't know whether they know that. So where's this rush going? Good length, is it? Good length? No, it's gone.
It's gone past.
So that'll be the end of the
All right, so we're looking at Penult and Peg.
Penult and Peg. I remember playing Reg at the resort at the mountain, and he was doing a sextuple, and he had to do a straight triple or something to finish, and he rushed to Penult and he didn't get in front. And I said, oh, right, I've got another go. And then he still finished.
Well,
Cannoned it in front after Penult. Rush peeled it through Penult to 1 foot in front of Rover. Job done.
I'm willing to bet that's not going to happen here.
I think it'll be...
Particularly seeing as you've pointed out of the offset of the hoop, so rush peeling it to in front of Rover is tricky anyway.
Yeah. So, doing something we don't normally do, which is send partner to Rover. Normally try and make the last
Well,
hoop
it might not
of
be.
your
You
turn.
might be just sending black to the Peg and then getting a rush on one of the other balls to Rover.
I think he's going to send this to Rover.
Yeah. Which, if you'd already peeled Penult, that would have been a brilliant shot.
Yes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a vertical spread here, or at least have yellow on the back of Penult, even if red isn't at Rover. Yellow on the back of Penult means it won't rush to hoop 4. So
Well, you can
that's
then put
nice
red on the back
defensive.
of Rover so it won't rush to hoop 1 as well.
You can. Slightly more
It's-
difficult shots to play there.
It is. I mean, also the fact is that even if it can't rush to hoop 1, it's still relatively near hoop 1.
Yeah. Looks like a nice position for yellow there.
Yep.
Nice control. Should be able to just run this gently. Yeah. Shouldn't have any problems with the backswing. That's yellow pretty much where you want it already.
Yep.
So you can get a rush on red down to Rover and maybe do the same thing after Rover with red on 5.
Yeah, you don't need to do anything with yellow, it's fine there. Oh.
That would only leave them the question of do they lay up in corner 4 or corner 2? And corner 2 would be the normal place to lay up because it's as far away from red's hoop as you can be, and red's the ball the opponents would prefer to play. But this lead of Penult and Peg against no lifts conceded in Super Advanced is a very, very big lead, isn't it?
Absolutely it is.
You can't just take a ball to 4 back, make a
Nope.
leave and finish next term because the opponents have got contact. So very, very strong lead here for
Which means
the
you're
defending champs.
probably going to have to stop at 1 back, in which case you don't particularly want to play yellow because 4 and 1 back is a bit ugly.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, you're pretty much banking on James and Samir missing 2 lifts, which is it's not something I'd want to bank much on.
Yeah, even Samir missing 2 lifts, so I think they're both shooting well at the moment.
Yeah.
Which
Which again is one of the criticisms that people do make of Super Advanced, which
Yep.
is that it's if you get a big lead, it's too difficult to come back.
it is, yeah.
Whereas playing regular, you can regularly come back from 24, 25 nil down
Yeah.
comfortably.
So if I'm playing Super here, and if I get in with either red or yellow,
Yeah.
I'm going to take a 4-ball break round to the peg and peg them out.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier that one of the exceptions to the lift to contact rule was if you peg a ball out. So if they go round and peg the blue out,
Yep.
give contact with black on penult, and try and cope from that position, whether it's 1 and peg v penult
Yeah.
or 4 and
Which
peg.
is not, it's not something that you generally like to do in that position, but it's probably still better than giving them 2 lift shots.
Yeah, so at normal advanced, I have a sort of golden rule, which is that if they're on 4-back and peg, you always peg them out. If they're on rover and peg, you never peg them out. And if they're on penult and peg, it's your choice.
It kind of depends where your other ball's round to and how well you're feeling, what the conditions are like, and all those sorts of things.
Yeah. If it's
How good a
super,
shot
I think you peg them out on penult all the time. That's a good shot again.
Yeah.
Going to have to cut this up the lawn, but they'll
Well, you
roll
can roll it down to corner 2 comfortably enough.
Probably lay up, what do you think, about 9 yards south of corner 2 with a rush to penult?
Yeah,
Just got to make sure yellow
depends
can't
exactly
hit it.
where yellow is. That's just what I was going to say, just to make sure that you're not giving yellow a shot.
Yeah, if yellow's in the front of the jaws, you can lay up 10 yards south of the corner, you're fine. If it's just in the front, you might have to lay up 7 yards south.
Yeah.
Both these balls look pretty good to me.
Yeah.
The further north you go, the easier it is to leave a rush pointing directly at penult without leaving a double. So they will want a good rush, but equally the further north you go, the shorter the lift shot from B-bulk.
Indeed. And
They
they've
don't want
gone-
these in contact, no, they've moved apart.
Yeah. Yes, and that's quite a long way south. So presumably yellow is quite nicely in the jaws and doesn't have a shot this way.
Yeah, looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Putting them well apart, no chance of hitting the wrong ball if they're that apart.
Yeah. No double targets, nothing. Right.
So a really good turn.
Yep.
I mean, I don't say that very often, but I thought that was exceptionally good in terms of they went for the peel aggressively.
Yeah.
They aborted when it went wrong, and then they had a go safely.
Yes,
At the
there was
end.
no point in that straight quad when they were taking any
I didn't
any
think so.
particular risk at all.
So very nice turn for a whole set of reasons, both physically and tactically.
Mm. And I'm always happy with something and peg and a decent leave.
Yeah.
I'm never disappointed with that position.
So I'm not even sure Stephen's decided which shot he's taking here. I think he was
No, he's still-
looking at red, and
Don't fancy that.
we'll just go quiet for a minute because this
Yeah.
is close to our commentary point. So I'll let you watch Stephen's lift shot.
Right.
Good shot. It's just hilled off.
Just drifted it slightly. Okay. Well, one even relatively good rush now and game's over.
Yep, should be 1-0. And the only error so far, that problem at hoop 3. And it was a combination of the decision to go down to hoop 4 in the first place,
Yeah.
leaving you the take-off across the rush line,
Yeah.
followed by the take-off that was short, followed by an imperfect hoop stroke.
Yeah, I mean the actual approach to the hoop was
Yeah.
reasonably good.
Yeah.
Um,
And followed by an imperfect hampered shot as well, to be
well,
honest.
the hampered shot was. I mean, I was over there refereeing it,
Yeah.
as you remember, and it really didn't look difficult at all. It did. I mean, it was basically, oh, you've got to hit a 6-yarder.
Yeah.
Um,
I tend to be less critical of people on those because I'm so bad at them myself. Yeah, my swing's not straight.
I mean, he had to be careful to be hitting it centre ball to avoid clipping the hoop or anything. But it was more psychologically in the way than really in the way.
Right.
That should be good enough.
Yeah. He needs a partner, though.
Yes.
It's difficult to
Where's
finish
Samir
without
gone?
a partner. No, what's going on here? He is deciding to go and find. Samir, we should say, is the manager of the tournament, so he may well just be doing a bit of managing, getting some other people some games.
Yes, it always can be a little distracting, although in recent years the only tournaments I've managed have generally been 8s, which are not that complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, although it's just questions as to when to peg down and when to resume tend to be the only significant questions that you end up getting, which were, given the conditions at Hurlingham, seemed to be regrettably often.
Yes, it was surprising, wasn't it? No, we just had, I think, the person who's been playing the longest walk past here, and people will say, who's that, Stephen Mulliner or something? No, it's Dennis Bullock from New Zealand.
Yeah.
And Dennis has been playing, I think,
I think he was certainly playing in reasonably high-level events come round about the early 70s,
yes.
wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. Dennis has been playing a long, long time.
Yeah. And he's still a decent player.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're all getting older, and a lot of us aren't getting better as we get older. But yeah, can still play a nice game on his day.
Well, at the Worlds a couple of years ago, I mean, he beat Matthew Essick in the blocks, which is which not a lot of other people did.
No.
Yes, I'll also point out that he also beat me as well. But
once he gets a rhythm going, he's quite good. I mean, I'm trying to think what he did. He was a finalist in the Golf Croquet World Championship about 25 years ago.
Well, he was a semi-finalist in the AC Worlds and in the 2000s.
Right.
I can't remember which one it was, but he certainly got
medals at both codes. There aren't many people who've got medals at both codes.
No, not at all.
Generally, you are talking about the better players in the world. So, well done to Dennis for that, and nice to see people like Dennis from New Zealand, Brian Cumming from Canada, Doug Grimsley from America. I probably missed out somebody. David Wise from Australia.
Yeah, very good to see.
Nice to have all 4 MAC countries represented. And yeah, I know Brian and Doug come over here pretty much every year now to London or Cheltenham.
Yeah, I see Brian most years, certainly.
It certainly adds to the event having that multinational.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Otherwise, it just might feel like just yet another A-class event in England. Right, okay, well, it's only got a 5-foot peg out. Should be comfortable.
Been good. I mean, breaks have looked tidy.
Yeah.
A really
well
good
done.
game. Plus 23. Couple of peels of a quad. And that's 1 up in the best of 3 for people just joining us. So, the sun's still out. Lovely day at Surbiton.
Yep. With James and Samir playing like that, Jenny and Stephen are going to have to pull something out here.
They are. And
I mean, they're perfectly capable of it. We shall see.
Yeah, it tends to be about if they can maintain the innings. People who hit in against them will really test them. But they're quite good at innings retentive play. Very, very surprised that they're playing super advanced. Yeah, Jenny's got no experience playing super advanced.
Whereas James and Samir are among the most experienced and top players at it.
Exactly. And just a reminder to the viewers, if one side says no and the other side says yes,
then you play regular.
You play normal, so the no wins.
Yes.
Both of them have to agree for it to be super advanced. I just think it probably lowers Stephen and Jenny's winning chance from maybe, you'd think it was maybe 70-30 before the game. It probably moves it to 80-20.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
So
I think-
you've
yes.
lost a third of your chance of winning by the decision.
Yeah. I mean, it's also something that I'm on the record of not being particularly comfortable about, which is people making choices as to which form of the game to play before happening, because it means you've kind of got a sort of tactical decision in terms of what rules to play.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really sit right with me particularly. I don't think that's.
Management question.
Oh, yes.
Are you interested in Swissing today or not?
Is this
This will be an actual Swiss.
an actual Swiss? Yes, I am.
You are. In which case, I'm going to give you Ewan and Norm one.
Okay.
So we're just getting that management done. It sounds like I'm going to lose my co-commentator
Yep.
to an early Swiss game.
Well,
Burridge Swiss.
Yep. Which is against Ewan, who's already been playing today, so I'll probably want to go and have a bit of a.
There's a bit of a warning.
bit of a-
He's quite good. He's better
Yeah.
than you think he's going to be.
Yeah. Yes, I've never actually played Ewan
So
before. That's a first.
he doesn't simply hit the ball straight now. He's actually got some tactical understanding and some croquet strokes. So
I mean, he was quite scary when all he did was hit the ball straight.
correct.
Okay, well, given the fact that we've got a bit of a lull waiting for the next game to go, I will say goodbye. Thank
Thanks,
you,
Robin.
Chris.
Have fun in your singles.
Yep, and enjoy game 2.
Thank you. So yeah, Saturday, Sunday, Monday here, technically all doubles days, but the manager does try and get early Swiss games on if he can, just to give him a bit more flexibility, and equally sort of Z games on for people wanting ranked games who've either been knocked out of the doubles or have arrived an afternoon early for the singles. We've got people like Neil Adams. Neil's playing in his first Open Championship, I believe. Tends to win virtually all the tournaments he plays up in the north, and he's now trying his hand at a completely different level of play. And be fascinating to see how he gets on in this event, which is traditionally a very strong event. Youngsters, we don't have very many. I think Aston's got exams or is away somewhere, so Ewan Burridge is our youngest player here. He's at 23, and as I mentioned before, he's improving. Did incredibly well 2 years ago to qualify, and then not simply make the main event, but got through his block and made the last 32 in the World Championship. Unbelievably good performance, and he's better now than he was then. So he's going to give some people a game. He makes too many errors still, but he hits in a lot, and he's generally capable of going round from anywhere. Sam Murray arrived for the singles. So once Samir's finished this managing, they'll start game 2. It'll be Samir and James's toss, and I expect they'll go first. Another rule of Super Advanced is
They won the first toss.
they went second, did they?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So Jenny's just told me that they actually won the toss, did Samir and James, and they chose to go second in the first game. So that's quite unusual. Tends to indicate James is really fancying how well he's shooting, and he did miss his 4th turn shot. So it's going to be Jenny and Stephen's choice. And I was going to mention the other rule that's different for Super Advanced, which is on the first shot of the game, the ball has to either go off a boundary or hit or run a hoop. And that's to stop people laying super shot balls, which was beginning to be regarded as too one-dimensional an opening. So you can still try and lay a type of super shot ball by going gently at hoop 5 and bouncing off. So that is still something that people do. They often have the peg in the background and try and hit it at a pace where it would go about a yard past the peg if it misses hoop 5 and the peg. And then if that ball doesn't hit anything, the opponents have the choice of leaving it where it is or forcing their opponents to move it to a bulk line. And normally you move it to corner 3 or corner 1. If you're happy to approach hoop 1 from the corner, should the opposing team put the ball in the other corner. So I tend to put it on the end of B bulk and just say have a rush to corner 2, and you can't have this horrible ball in corner 1, ball in corner 3 squeeze, which on an easy lawn is dangerous because your opponent can go round from it, but on something a bit more difficult like Surbiton, I really don't want to be faced with a ball in corner 1 and ball in corner 3 third turn. It's just too difficult. So we'll see what opening they choose. Samir just again still doing some managing. With the Robertson Shield taking place here next year in about 12 months' time, that's going to be what we're going to call the centennial. It was meant to be 2025, but we had COVID, so it's been put back a year. The first test played in June 1925 between Australia and England at Roehampton. So we're calling next year's event the centennial. And Samir and James one potential doubles partnership for England. Another one potentially Jamie Birch and Mark Avery, who got 9 out of 9 in Australia in 2022. And the other potential pair, Robert Fulford plus somebody else. A lot of competition for the final place. Various players hoping to be picked. I won't mention them all because I'm bound to forget somebody and upset them. But certainly a place available and lots of people vying for contention. Right, Jenny's wandered out here. Stephen and Samir still in the clubhouse. And looks like we're going to be started very shortly. Right, here we go. So, Stephen and Jenny win the toss in game 2 because they lost it in game 1. And again, they're going to go first. So they're going to allow the opponents to do exactly what they wanted to do last game, which is go second. Time not going to be an issue here. Time limits of 4 hours for game 1, 7 hours for games 1 and 2 combined, and 9 hours for the 3 games combined. I went to all 9 hours to lose 15-14 yesterday. I don't think these guys will be anywhere near 9 hours. with James involved in the game. I think the other three players are all quite good as well. So just that one error really in game one. And this looks like the same as we had first game. Jenny going off the east boundary. And when I play doubles with Jenny, I always play first because Jenny's a better shot than me 90% of the time. So Stephen must think he's in really good nick at the moment. Again, Samir probably going to do what they did in game one and go just south corner 2. It's the most defensive opening you can play. And James and Samir will think they're the stronger pair. And I think most people will agree with them on that. And if you're the better pair, clearly, you probably want to play the more defensive opening, which is corner 2. If you're the weaker pair, you probably want to play something a little bit more aggressive. And going second would have been an opportunity to do that for Stephen and Jenny, but they're not doing. More aggressive openings would be putting a ball level with hoop 6, called a Duffer's Tice. Duffer Tice. But no, we're going back to corner 2. I think they're the better pair. They certainly showed it in game 1. And now Stephen will shoot at yellow again. He missed by about two balls on the left in game 1. And he'll be hoping to hit this and dig blue out of corner 2. It's missed on the... No. Almost. Closer shot. So this will be more of a double from A bulk. There'll be about 3 balls between it probably. James still will normally go wider at B bulk and take the long double from there. So he might need to go even further west than in front of hoop 3 this time to get a perfect double. So yeah, this is about 2 yards further west than he played the shot from in game 1. I mentioned it goes a little bit left to right, and he did miss on the right last time. So probably aim at the red and hit it a little bit more firmly than he did on game 1. Yeah, that's a lot harder, I think. Did that go through the middle? I can't really tell from our angle. I'd be amazed if it went through the middle. He wouldn't have left a hole, I don't think. Probably just missed on the left. Yeah, probably just missed on the left. So again, those 2 choices I mentioned in game 1. Rush yellow south of black. Stop it into the lawn a few yards, getting rushed to 1. Or try and rush yellow to get yourself the cannon. If you get it wrong, you deny yourself the space to move yellow out. But if you get it right, the rewards are greater. This time she's tried to rush it 2 yards south and she's rushed it into it. So that's not very good either. The positive is that hoop 4 is nowhere near in the way anymore. I didn't think it was sufficiently in play to try to do that. Because having yellow still on the yard line does make it a lot more difficult to go round if you make hoop 1. Again, not a straight rush. As soon as you've got a cut rush, it just makes the judging the distance that little bit harder. This looks like a good effort to me. Yeah, that's a good shot. I normally approach the hoop trying to get a rush east back to yellow. It looks okay. Again, Jenny's just run it just a fraction short, so it's going to be this time a half ball cut rather than a 3/4 ball cut. Remember, Stephen middled this, and has he got the power to take it half ball? Yep, yeah, that got off the lawn easily. Got a good contact on it as well. It came off quite cleanly. Again, you can move red, you can move black into the lawn a few yards here, which is very helpful. Oh, she's overhit that. Overhit that horribly. It's that type of shot James is so good at. And it just makes the whole turn so much easier. That's Stephen again trying to thrash that. I think he might have had the strength to rush it to corner 2 had he not overcut it. And now they're going to be doing something similar to game 1 where they roll yellow behind hoop 2, going to blue, hit blue, croquet blue to 3, trying to get in front of hoop 1. And the concept is that you're approaching your hoop off your partner ball, so if you fail, you haven't just given the opponent a 5-yarder. Yeah. You can choose to put yellow normally to the left of hoop 2 when you're approaching here. Jenny again playing with that fist at the bottom to get a little bit of pass roll. And probably got too much there. Yellow's actually finished almost level with the hoop. You'd prefer it 3 yards deeper. So she's had one go at this. Left blue a long way short of hoop 3 last time, but got really good position at 2. This time, let's see if she can get blue at least to hoop 3, if not a yard past it. Better shot, that I think. Came off more of the mallet, and I think that's good. I think you'd take that. That's a 9 out of 10. Would never want that back. This is very runnable hoop and a good blue. Again, for those just joining us, hoop 2 was the firmest hoop on the lawn from the quarter final I played here on yesterday. Yeah, it's just hit the middle of the wire. That's not going to go through even if it's not firm. So the question is, has blue got any sort of double now with yellow having been left so far south? Red's in front of the hoop. I think it's runnable. Yellow can hit red. Red can hit yellow. So I think they'll take the shortest available shot, which is blue at red. And maybe have a bit of yellow in the background. Samir's shot, because James missed the last one. Blue at red's comparatively safe here. Red could turn around and pick it off, but it's a 6-yarder. I think the natural play would be to rush yellow to blue, blue to hoop 2, blue back to yellow, and yellow to hoop 3. This is short. It's only about 12 yards, and you have to take it based on length. And any time your opponent sort of joined up and you've got something under 13 yards, you have to shoot at them at this level. Yeah, good shot. And the great thing about this position is, with your croquet stroke sending red to hoop 2, you've got a sort of option. Depending on where blue finishes, blue will either have a rush to hoop 1 or a rush to black. So either of those will work very well for you. Not a great red. You'd prefer to have a better hoop 2 pioneer than that. He's got his rush to his partner ball so he can make hoop one off partner. And Samir again hasn't hit that quite as hard as he would have liked. He really wanted it on top of black, so another 4 yards would have been better. Good shot from James again. That looks like a good rush as well. Just a yard or two short. This one's all about the striker's ball. You can get a rush east or west and both work fine. So just focus on the blue ball. And he's left that short. Is it jumpable? It's certainly not runnable on the ground, I don't think. Might be able to jump through it. Looking at guarding yellow at black, because these balls are at yellow's hoop. They're prepared to concede red at black, because it doesn't give an easy breakaway, but they don't want yellow shooting. So Rob Fulford would always play blue off the lawn here. He wouldn't simply guard by being in lawn, because to be honest, yellow can just shoot anyway here if it wants to. So Rob would be saying, look, if you just flick black, you can't get behind blue because blue's on a boundary. And the more you go on the boundary, the longer your shot it is back to you, so you're more encouraging red to play. So yeah, Rob would be off the boundary every time here. And the stronger player you are, the more you should be off the lawn. You want the opponent to take red at black or red at yellow. Or even yellow at red. Any of those shots you'll be happy with. What you don't want is yellow at black for a break. Because it's the shortest shot and they will go round probably if they hit it. So you're doing everything you can to dissuade them from that choice of shot. A lot of New Zealanders will go to corner 4 here and try and get yellow to shoot at red, and then just neutralise it and have a wide join after that or something. I'm always keen to try and maintain a 6 or 7 yarder for myself. So that's trying to dissuade the yellow at the black. Jenny's shot. So whilst you make a team decision about what shot's best, if you can't really agree between 2 options, you defer to the striker. They're the one who's going to have to hit the shot. Natural standard shot, red at black. You can justify red at yellow if you want to. Wind just starting to get up a bit now. Yep, Jenny's backed off that one. It'd be nice if we got a bit of sunshine, a bit of wind, and 2 or 3 days of drying the lawns out, because they had lots of potential on Saturday morning, and the weather just hasn't cooperated with the groundsman. Close. James's shot. James misapproached the hoop. Samir played blue off, so James to play, and he'll just play a firm shot at black here. If you can rush black off the boundary, you can send it to 2, or most of the way to 2, getting a rush on yellow to red. So it's a really useful one to hit in the middle. Didn't come off the middle of his mallet, that. Wasn't a really good strike. He'll accept just leaving black there as his hoop 2 pioneer and get a rush on yellow to red. this is surprisingly defensive. I didn't see any real need to defensify that. It was quite a straightforward line to take off to yellow, rush yellow to red, and accept black as a imperfect hoop 2 pioneer. Wouldn't be surprised to see them play yellow just north of hoop 1 here and play a stop shot approach to hoop 1. So a stop shot approach to hoop 1 would be sending red all the way up to hoop 2, holding blue in front of hoop 1 to be able to run it to where yellow's being placed now. And where's yellow gone? Ooh, she certainly didn't try to put it that side of the hoop. Will have tried to put it to the right. Now, as I keep mentioning, these balls pull a huge amount. And James doing the right thing here. He's asking his partner, where do you want to play it from? Everyone's got a different stop shot ratio. And part of the question is, do they actually want to approach from closer, accepting that you're only going to send red 2/3 of the way there, but you're more likely to get good hoop position? And he hasn't done, so he should get a good hoop 2 pioneer now, but might end up with a longer hoop 1. And it's going to be making hoop 1 off yellow, so we'll give a breakaway if he misses. Yeah, okay, it's a 4-foot hoop, it's pretty straight. You know, he maybe hoped for a little bit better than that, but it's not a bad shot. A lovely pace of shot there. It would have gone another 5 yards probably if it had flicked through the wire, but I think you've got to give these hoops a bit of respect and just give them that extra couple of yards of pace. As it was, he caught a little bit of wire, and Samir's got an easy length okay. He's rushed it to just about okay, so this is going to pull a lot, so we can aim it to miss the hoop, hoop 1, and it'll pull all the way around. Probably needs to aim it to miss hoop 1 by maybe up to 3 balls, to avoid the risk of yellow going into hoop 1. And that's a pretty good shot. Yellow's at hoop 3. Yeah, it stopped just about in time. Blue's got to black. Red's a good hoop 2 pioneer. Play a takeoff. Again, you can make sure you play a takeoff from the right hand side so black comes a little bit more into the lawn. But yeah, should be a break again. And I won't be surprised to see them go to 3 back again. Again, giving contact, reminding you we're playing super advanced. Not a great takeoff, hasn't got a rush on red. The difference this time is the opponent's clips aren't on 1 and 4, they're on 1 and 2. So they won't want to leave a ball particularly near corner 2, so they won't leave their ball in corner 2 like they did last time because it's red's hoop. This time they'll probably leave their balls sort of split across corner 4. No, that won't be the case. Sorry, I have to work all this out from scratch because I'm not used to super advanced. So, red in corner 2, yellow 7 yards north of corner 1, and probably themselves in corners 3 and 4. Sounds like the logical play. So that'll be black in corner 4, blue in corner 3. So the first thing they'll do is after 1 back they'll send red to corner 2. Now that's a few hoops in the future. They've got their break now, so they're just thinking about, are they going to do any popping? That's peeling red through 2 or yellow through 1. I'm not convinced there's any need to do that. So just play a normal croquet stroke. This one pulls an enormous amount. Loading hoop 4. It's not bad, just both balls fractionally short. They'll just be approaching hoop 3 from a little bit further away than they want to. So yeah, just sort of 4 feet to the northeast. They're still looking down at hoop 1 as if they might want to peel yellow. Don't think there's a need. Yeah, it's sort of quite nice to peel your opponent to hoop 2 if you think hoop 2 is the most difficult hoop on the lawn. You're almost always running the first hoop of your turn from longer than subsequent hoops as you get control. So if hoop 2 is firmer than the rest, peeling yellow to hoop 2 has some value to it. I think it shows the confidence of the pair that even with approaching from, you know, an angle to the side, they were still thinking, where should we be getting a rush to? They weren't worried about making the hoop. And again, despite playing for many, many years together and having won this event several times, they're still just double checking with their partner, where exactly do you want this rush to make your croquet stroke as easy as you can. So yeah, yellow's going to go to hoop 1 here, and he's going to go to black. So they're definitely popping the yellow. Lovely shot with yellow. That should be easy to rush in front of hoop 1 after hoop 4, and they'll peel it going towards partner ball, which will be at hoop 5. Looking at 3 different places where you could rush black to, and James is preferring the one that's a bigger rush. There we go, good cut from Samir. Got that pretty much where James was standing. You did want red a little bit to the western side there, because you're going to be going to... Sorry, you did want black a bit to the west of hoop 5, because you're going to be going to it from yellow at hoop 1. However, he's put it 3 yards to the side rather than 3 feet to the side. So, not perfect. Does mean he can play the hoop 1 peel a little bit straighter if he wants to, so that may be a positive. And Samir's got a nice rush over there, so that'll be a big help. So red goes out as a normal hoop 6 pioneer. Nothing unusual. Blue will get close enough to yellow to rush in front of hoop 1. And then we'll be peeling yellow through hoop 1, going to black, getting a rush to hoop 5. Again, lovely back ball control. Is that far enough? I think you can definitely play a take off to jaws it. I can't see what the angle is as to whether it's going to peel or just jaws. Jaws is basically just as good as peeling, really. Yeah, he's going to have to create the angle here. So he's probably going to have to play it as a thick takeoff in order, or even a roll, possibly. So it's more difficult this than if he could get to the left of black with a thin takeoff. Not quite sure he's got the angle for that. So multiple reasons for popping. Might be popping him to a more difficult hoop that's firmer. Might make the start of a peeling turn deny you of time to get the balls in place for a peel. Might make making a leave easier to have both your opponent's balls on the same hoop. So he gets the peel. He had to play it with a roll, and he's a bit under hit on that. James should be able to cut this maybe level with the hoop on the other side. But yeah, he's a good yard short on blue. Yeah, good shot. That's about as good as James could do from there. Made sure it's not directly behind the hoop black. So now with the opponent on 2 and 2. First there's a question of the leave, and then there's a question of are they going to try and peel yellow through hoop 2 to get it to hoop 3? Again, denying the opponent time to set up their peeling turn. I'm not entirely sure. It's not the easiest leave to make. You're probably going to end up... See, I can't find anything immediately good as a contact leave with the opponents on 2 and 2. Nothing, because you can't put a ball anywhere near that sort of quadrant. So that's an entire quadrant that's taken away from you, and also a corner area that isn't in bulk. So I think making a contact leave against 2 and 2 is more difficult than if they're on 2 and 3, for example. So let's see what they do. They're putting black out as the 2-back pioneer, getting a rush on yellow. So yellow will be going to 1-back. We'll have to wait and see whether they try and peel it through hoop 2 after making 1-back. James hasn't really put black out as a 2-back pioneer. That almost looks like a ball that he's going to come back to after hoop 6. So again, apologies if I'm struggling to think of the perfect options all the time. It's all sort of working through things from scratch because I haven't played much Super. I think I've played 2 games of it. So yellow's definitely going to be going to 1-back. I think he'll rush red back to black and put out a better 2-back pioneer after hoop 6, and then rush black up to yellow at 1-back and try and peel it after hoop 2. After 2-back, you can rush red back towards corner 2 and leave it in corner 2. You can rush yellow 7 yards south of corner 3. And then you can leave partner in corner 4 and go to corner 1 with your 3-back ball. And that's the best I can come up with here. Quite a long chat here. There are lots of options. Not just for whether you pop hoop 2, but what leave are you going to have afterwards? Are you going to stop at 3 back? Are you going to go all the way to 4 back? I think they'll stop at 3 back again. And I think that the leave is quite easy to make, providing the peel goes through the hoop after hoop 2. If it doesn't go through the hoop, you're in a bit of trouble. You're probably going to have to make 3 back in that case. Anyway, they've decided. Let's see what they've actually chosen to do. So I think they'll rush this back to black. No. So this red is clearly going to go, I think, 7 yards south of corner 3. So that's indicate yellow isn't going to get popped through hoop 2. I'm still struggling a wee bit to work out where these balls are going to finish. This is the final position for red, clearly. If yellow finishes, let's say 7 yards north of hoop north of corner 1, where do black and blue go? There's no obvious answer to that to me, which is why I fancied popping hoop 2. That's just improving a 2-back pioneer, which we wouldn't normally rush a pioneer to a hoop and leave ourselves a 20-yard takeoff, but they're in a little bit of a mess here, I think. You don't want to leave yellow in the same quarter as red's hoop, which means you need a rush out of 1 back. And you'd have thought, having had that 5-minute discussion about what they were going to do, they'd have decided that by now. Because I think they've done everything they tried to do since then. They were pointing at lots of places on the east boundary for yellow. Reasonable takeoff. Still having a chat about it. So as another option, I'm going to give you make 1 back, rush yellow down towards corner 1, stop it back towards red, make 2 back, rush black off to corner 4, go to red and yellow, put one of them where red is, rush yellow into corner 3, leave yellow in corner 3 and come to corner 1. That's sort of joining red and yellow up 7 yards apart, but it doesn't matter because they've got a lift or a contact anyway. They can't get a rush on each other. and you're in corners 4 and 1, that looks pretty good to me, particularly with the 3-back ball in corner 1, which is black's hoop. So that looks a viable option. He's done something bad there, so that's approaching the hoop to leave something angled. And none of us ran anything this angled at hoop 2 yesterday, and he's failed it. So I have mentioned this hoop's firmer than the others. It wasn't a good approach by Samir. James still thought it was a very straightforward hoop and failed it. And I guess we'll never know what they were going to do. That's a shame. So red and yellow have got a lift because blue went through hoop 4. So hoop 4 is super advanced lift hoop. So they've got a lift. So if yellow can't hit blue, yellow can lift and hit red, or red can lift and shoot at black from A bulk. Red at black from A bulk gives you every ball in the world straight away. And you could even put red and yellow in the background in case you missed on one side. I think I'm not convinced they can see much of blue here, so black at red is the obvious shot. They've decided to take yellow at red. So this is more defensive in terms of if you miss, you give less away. You get a little bit less if you hit, though. So he's going to shoot at an angle so that if he misses, they're joined up. I think I'd have played red at black. We're assuming blue can run the hoop hard down to black. Now, if blue can't do that, then yellow at red from at an angle is fine. Generally, I would prefer to know what shot I'm definitely taking before picking a ball up. So if he does hit this, the normal thing to do would be take off down to black, rush black up the lawn to get close to blue. The danger is if you overhit you take off to black, you might finish crosswired from it. But let's do the first thing first and see if yellow can hit red. Nice shot in the middle. You can move this a couple of yards into the lawn as well, getting down to black, which will be handy. Again, just got to make sure you don't get crosswired. Moving red a couple of yards into the lawn should give you a useful ball near 3. Providing you can sort of just move it up the lawn a bit, going to blue, you should be fine. Even leaving black where it is and taking off to blue and coming back to it after hoop 2, sorry, works fine. This is a bad line. The weight's good. Yeah, really good weight, bad line. And she's done nicely with the red. The red's come out very well. So one of the things I've been noticing about Stephen for probably the best 7 or 8 years is he's starting to walk after shots. Now he's always sort of fast, but you've got to have a stable body when you're actually playing the shot. you've got to be stable. And once you've hit it, you need to still be on your feet. He's starting to be walking after shots immediately after he's made contact. It's particularly bad when you've got a hoop stroke. As soon as you start walking after hoop strokes, it's the beginning of the end. And yeah, he's got quite a nice technique that he's working at the moment. And if you can keep that good body stability, it's working well. But yeah, missing a 3-yarder there. Didn't need to cut it, could have just tonked it in the middle. A bit disappointing. So we'll see where James can run this to. Can he get all the way down to black? It's going to be Samir's shot. Or is he open on just the black itself? They'll definitely want to either take the hoop on or shoot at something. Black's got some of blue to shoot at, and that sort of joins up as well. Yellow's wired from blue, so black at blue is definitely takeable, even if you only got half a ball. Hitting the hoop and staying there is not very good. Yeah, good strike. Misses on the correct side. No danger of hitting the hoop. And there's no nice shot here for red and yellow. Normal shot is yellow at red, but I fancy James just to hit his 6-yarder. It's quite likely to hit it into the hoop and stay there. And then he's got a sextuple peel turn, which will be fun for us to watch. Certainly haven't seen anyone trying to do a sextuple with Invictus balls at Surbiton. But a good one to hit for Jenny, this. 2 balls at a hoop. Looking at it, looking at it, looking at it. So yeah, James can hit this 6-yarder. We should have a bit of fun with a big peeling turn. Rushing it into the jaws, which I think is possible, would be the ultimate first shot. Just a little bit of wind. Restalks, and it's good to see even a fast player like James is willing just to go back and restalk on these important shots. Was he going for that cut to rush it into the jaws? I don't know. So, 2 good chances there. I expect yellow will play at red to make sure it gets to hoop 3 Parnia. You don't want to play red at yellow and leave it on the boundary. This is a golden chance here. And yeah, if you watch Stephen, does he walk after it or does he maintain that body position? That's much better. You see his feet were both on the ground there. instead of he started to walk after the last one. Not the easiest shot with these balls, this split shot. Red will probably finish further west than Jenny would ideally like, so yeah, that's got a lot of pull. The red's finished a bit too far west. Good yellow. It's okay red though. And if they get a break, I think they'll go to 3 back and give contact. They won't want to go to 4 back and allow black to TPO them. They'll be wanting black to have a go at a sextuple, I would think. But let's try and get some hoops under their belt first. They haven't really had a proper break yet. Broke down after 3 hoops in game 1 and at hoop 2 in game 2. So let's just try and get a nice break together. Again, this hoop just that little bit firmer than the others. Treat it with respect. Give it an extra yard or 2 of pace on your hoop shots. Yeah, nice shot. Once again, after hitting blue here, the angle isn't the best with these balls. You'd prefer to be playing the shot from a little bit further north. So blue probably won't get down to be quite as good a hoop for Pioneer. Looks like a good yellow. Lovely yellow. And again, blue, as I mentioned, just because the balls pull a lot, didn't really quite have the angle he wanted there to get blue all the way down to 4. Oh, so he'd actually overrun with yellow, so Jenny didn't have a rush to the hoop and just had to rush it a little bit to the side. They're still working to pick this one up. Fraction too far. Oh yeah, a testing hoop this. Yeah, good shot. And gets a very handy rush. Should be able to collect the black ball after hoop 4 going to hoop 5. So you deliberately put your hoop 5 Pioneer a little bit on the western side. This is one of the things Jenny does. She goes and looks exactly where she wants the ball. Finds it easy to visualise by actually doing that. So they'll go and pick the black ball up after they've made hoop 4 and have a 4-ball break. Red's pretty good there. It's just about a foot west of the line of 5 and 6, so nice easy ball to go to from the black. And they'll shift blue into the lawn going to black. Might even choose to put it all the way up to hoop 6 straight away. Gives you the chance to put out 2 Pioneers to 6 in case the first one isn't particularly good. that's gone into red, and again, it's a shot Stephen would never play with a normal set of balls. That's going to have pulled so far further than he expected it to. Jenny just makes sure hoop 1 isn't in the way of sending black to hoop 6. She really just wants to move this 1 yard, I think. Don't want to get hoop 1 in the way of going to red by rushing it to the corner. Yeah, I think that's a worse place for it to be than a yard further. I just think hoop 1's slightly in your mind as a striker now. I would much rather have played this yard from 2 to 3 yards further east. And it's a good yellow. Misses hoop 1 by about a ball, and that's a really good shot. Both balls excellent. So full control for the first time, and I don't know whether they've thought about what leave they're going to make. Don't want to be leaving their balls in the same segment of the lawn as their opponent's clips. So red and yellow should be on the eastern side of the lawn. Black should be probably somewhere near black's hoop on the boundary, and blue should probably be in corner 2. So blue in corner 2. Black 7 yards north of corner 1. Red in corner 4, yellow in corner 3 looks okay to me. And the only question is their clip going to end on 3 back or 4 back? 3 back at the anti-TPO clip. Four back, the sort of, we don't think it's the right thing for you to do to TPO. We think you might break down clip. One of the things you need to do as a doubles pair is agree when your opponent can stop you to talk. And I give my doubles partners the same piece of advice. Stop me when I'm about to play a croquet stroke. I hate having a 3-yarder to hit after my opponent stopped me, and I hate having a hoop to run after my opponent stopped me. I've got out of rhythm. But stop me before I'm about to play a croquet stroke, and that's my preferred time to be spoken to. Everyone's different. You might not care, but for me it's an important piece for my partner to know. Now that to me looks like they're stopping at 1 back. This looks like it's going to be a cross peg. Blue very tight to the peg on the east. Black may become quite close on the west, or it might go a long way away on the west. But it's definitely stopping at 1 back now. So completely different to what I expected. I expected them to give contact. And the reason they're stopping at 1 back is if they make 1 back this turn, the opponents will get a contact. So by stopping at 1 back, they're just giving away the hoop 4 lift. We're playing super advanced. So they'll be effectively making a lift leave for 1 back. And then the following turn, you would normally take the 1 back ball to 4 back with another lift leave. And then if that's missed, it's back to a sort of normal game and you do a TP. I've been joined by one of the people I enjoy commentating the most with.
Flattery will get you anywhere, Chris.
Welcome, Keith. Lovely to see you.
Nice to see you too.
You've got just the sort of game you'd like this. This is 2 clips on one back. Potential for sextuples, potential for balls to 4-back, potentials for maybe TPOs later on if that happens. And
so I'm going to deduce that we're playing Super Advanced.
We are playing Super Advanced alternate stroke.
Both sides play.
Both sides, yeah.
As you can tell, I've only just arrived. So.
And you're playing in the singles.
I am playing in the singles, yeah, starting tomorrow.
Well, a few of the singles have started today.
So I see.
Ewan's doing very well. He's got a standard TP.
I'm guessing it's not going entirely to plan.
He's had a ball around. Robin hit the lift on a ball around, and Ewan's hit the lift and is trying a TP. So that's going quite well on lawn 1. This is just effectively a diagonal spread now.
So an equalising ball round. Which game are we in?
This is game 2, so plus 23 in the first game to the defending champions, Samir and James. That was a 1-error game.
That sounds quite good.
It was a good game. They had 2 peels of their quad and a leave. And Jenny and Stephen missed a roquet after hoop 3, hampered 5-yarder. After hoop 3 was their error. But yeah, ball to 3-back with contact, got in again. Ball to the peg with 2 peels. Nice leave, vertical spread. Nice vertical spread, missed, finished. A good quality game. This is a choice that I've been anticipating they would go to 3-back and give a contact leave. And they're clearly deciding it's going to be a 2-turn strategy, a bit like motor racing. They have a 2-stopper or a 1-stopper. This is a 2-stop strategy.
I always like the 2-stop strategy, personally.
Well, I like making my opponent hit in.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
But I had to rely on them missing.
Yeah.
It doesn't work so well if they do actually hit in.
No, it becomes a bit problematic then. So this is just a normal diagonal spread. Something that you might have seen in the past in other games.
I've certainly heard of it.
I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to our viewers. But the difference here is instead of going around and laying up for the ball you're not playing, they've gone round and they've laid up for the ball that they've just played. So yellow's going to go from 1-back to 4-back next turn.
Sorry to interrupt. Was blue a deliberate stopping at 1-back?
Yes.
Oh
no, sorry, it was blue. Sorry, no. Blue was put there when they were trying to stop at 1-back. Blue failed 1-back.
Right. So they were going to
3-back.
3-back.
Yeah. They'd done this pop. They'd popped them from 2 and 1 to 2 and 2. Now, then they didn't seem to understand what leave they should be making, and they had a long 5-minute conversation, and then every minute after that they had another minute conversation about it. So it wasn't clear what leave they were going to make against 2 and 2. I'd suggested one, but the main reason which you might not be aware of for peeling them to 2 and 2 is hoop 2 is the firmest hoop on the lawn.
Well, I was watching the webcam and then the live stream yesterday.
Commiserations.
And the hoop 2 seemed quite tricky.
Very firm.
Very firm, yes.
It's basically what every hoop at United's like. So it's completely fairly set. There's an entirely acceptable gap, but it's very, very firm. So any sort of mid-pace shot that you hit slightly into a wire won't go through.
Yeah.
So you either need to thrash it through or just run it smoothly from dead straight. And
now, I did see Ian run it at what seemed an angle, and it came out at exactly the same line the far side.
Yeah, it would no wire.
With no wire.
No wire.
Yes.
It was about 5 degrees, and it went through without any wire. So it's not mega tight or anything. It's got a normal gap on it, and you can run it without any wire. Equally, you can play some really bad shots that never look like going through any hoop. which was some of our shots, and then some other ones which might go through a normal hoop, which won't go through that. But
Right.
yeah, that's what we used to at United in January for a New Zealand Open for the final. Brand new hoop holes, set it tight, and every hoop is an adventure.
Yes.
And certainly, yeah, my turn yesterday when I went to 4-back peeling Ian from 2 to 3, that was like getting a bonus 6 peels in, really, in many ways, getting him through hoop 2.
Right. Oh yes. Okay. Well, I didn't actually get to see that, unfortunately.
So,
The best I could do was Ewan was updating me by text as to what you were up to at the very end.
yeah, I did have a good,
Which
well, not a good chance. I had a small sliver of a chance, and turned it into quite a good chance by the end. Not quite good enough, I'm afraid, these days.
So what is the gap on these officially?
It's a 30-second.
30-second. Okay. Do you still do a 64th?
So
at
New
United if you-
Zealand regs are a 32nd of an inch plus 0
Yes.
minus a 64th.
Wow.
That's our
Yeah.
standard regulations for elite events. And for a final, I will try and set them to a 64th in brand new holes. And it's as big a test as you're going to get. A bit like playing, the US Open golf, where it's held every year, and their plan is to make it the biggest challenge of the year
Sure.
for the golfers.
Absolutely.
And it's my favourite tournament of the year, watching golf. I don't like them winning on 20 under. If someone can win on 2 under or level par, then good luck to them. So this is a defensive shot. They're going to shoot through blue at the peg,
It's a shorter shot as well.
and it's a shorter shot. It's also potential. Could it possibly hit the peg and bounce back
Well, I
onto
guess-
blue?
Oh, it must be a possibility.
But it also
So the other thing it can do is hit the peg and bounce over to 1-back,
it can.
which should be unfortunate.
But by putting it, if they were to miss, let's say on the right, and it goes to B bulk, that's as far behind yellow's break as it can be in terms of making 3 hoops and a leave. So it's a little bit more defensive. It's not as defensive as if you took it from corner 1 though, and went to corner 3.
No, but then that's a longer shot.
No, certainly five yards longer, if not more.
They're taking this with black, so what's the plan if they hit this?
I assume a sextuple, don't we? James will have some fun. Good
Okay.
shot, good shot.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
We will indeed. I think this will be a ball to the peg, and you only give contact now, don't you? It's not a lift to contact anymore because you've already given a lift away.
You've given the hoop 4 lift away.
Yeah. So if they get the peg with 3 peels,
Or even 2.
or even 2, it's not a bad turn. The other option, which is a little bit more boring, is they could just take a ball to 4-back,
Giving a lift.
giving a lift away.
Because then you're 1-back and 4-back.
You are, but they're 2 and 1-back, which isn't very good either.
True.
And you only give them the lift away.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be too boring an option for James to
It will be for
prepared
James.
to. So the question is, we know that James is going to want to do a sextuple. Can Samir play sufficiently poor shots that forces them into just having a ball to 4-back?
Well,
Accidentally,
red just
but on
there would have
purpose.
been a good option. Wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
I'm saying that in jest, but if you'd got red on the boundary
That would,
just then,
that
and
would
then
made it
not
more difficult.
potentially somewhere where you couldn't really get back in the lawn very far.
Yeah.
That yellow is really so useful now that actually he's given Samir quite a cut rush here.
A little bit of a cut rush. So Invictus balls, Keith.
Yes, I've heard of them.
People are mixed views.
I've actually played a little bit of croquet.
Good,
With them.
good.
Had the privilege of going to Roehampton
Oh yeah,
the week before last, and David Openshaw had organised a little get-together for former McRobertson Shield players
well it was the official
to
100th.
celebrate the 100th anniversary of the very first McRobertson Shield match, which took place at Roehampton.
And tell us who was there. Good
Well,
hoops, isn't
I
it?
was the youngest one there.
Really,
Yes.
really.
David was there, obviously.
Nigel?
Nigel Aspinall was
Excellent to have Nigel there. Wonderful.
there, and he brought with him and played with the mallet that he used in the 1969 McRobertson Shield.
Fantastic. Was
Which-
it Corbally?
It looked like it was a Jake's, round-headed,
Round-headed Jakes, you think?
big piece of lignum.
Okay, so
Brass.
Corbally's were a bit less wide.
It weighed £3 12 ounces.
Wow. And he used that on Roehampton's fast lawns, did
Yes, he did. Yes. And who else? Martin Murray,
he? Lovely.
Andrew Hope,
Great. Great to have
and
Andrew.
Colin Irwin.
Oh, well, a good bunch of people then.
Yes, and we finished. We played a bit of one ball, and then we finished up some sort of shooty at the peg type
Okay.
competition. I'll
Yep.
give you one guess who won that.
Nigel.
No,
No?
no,
Did you win?
no, no. I did not win. No.
Colin Irwin. Colin Irwin.
Irwin.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. So anyway, back to the game. They are laying for
Well,
their sextuple here.
This looks all very sort of
Standard.
dare I say, textbook.
Yeah. The thing is, they're going to have to allow about 3 times more pull for the peel.
Right. Yes, the balls. You were going to tell me about the balls.
So he's given that a bit more vigour this time to make sure he runs it. And
Well, he has run it.
I'm
but
not
this
sure-
is putting a strain on.
this is a dribbly shot if he wants to keep it in position. Is he going for the rush peel?
He is going for this.
He went for the rush peel. So
Yeah, so
the next time they're going to get a chance is peeling it to going to hoop 4.
yes.
If
Will
they leave it
will
there,
they take that on? I suppose they will.
if they leave it there,
Who's
they are,
playing the shot? Because that's
Oh.
always relevant, isn't it?
it takes
It'll
a bit
be
of working
Samir.
out,
It'll
doesn't
be
it?
Samir. It's James to play the croquet shots between 2 and 3.
And Samir between 3 and 4.
Yeah. Unless
Okay.
they get hoop and roquet.
Okay.
And they don't really want the hoop and roquet. That's the thing you have to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
With
it's
alternate stroke.
leaving it there. We're not sure how much say Samir had in that choice, really, but I guess if Samir's playing the croquet stroke after hoop 3, he can accidentally not get close enough for James to leave it in position, can't he?
So in the meantime, he's basically just getting a rush on yellow to somewhere where he can send it to hoop 4.
Yeah.
I say he.
Oh.
They.
That
I've
wasn't what he
literally
tried to do.
No idea what was. Well, yes, I agree. It can't have been what it could have been. Because now they've got the parity right for the.
James to play the shot. Oh, that is
That would be
very
genius, wouldn't it?
advanced thinking, Keith. I hadn't considered that, but you're
I
right.
haven't either, but they have.
It's a good shot.
Yeah. And
So-
Samir's just said, "Well, I could have played the croquet stroke. Look."
Yeah, James is going to play the croquet stroke now.
Well, they should avoid hoop and roquet quite easily. Yeah. You've got to do something with red though, something useful. And that, to me, that is somewhere down between 1 and 5, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, if you're being positive about it, it's a bit more southerly than between 1 and 5.
Yes,
And if you're being
okay.
cautious, it's to hoop 5. But
Well, you don't want it to hit hoop 6, so
yeah, normal in this position, I would say James and Samir are going to get this peel 80% of the time.
Mhm.
And I think it's less than 40%
today.
today.
Hmm. How? So, what difference are the balls making then, in your
So they're very
experience?
deeply milled, so they're gripping a lot, and the pull can be up to 4 times more than you would anticipate with a smoothish set of Dawsons.
Okay. What about the angle of split?
The back ball goes down more the line of the mallet, particularly on small hoop approaches,
Right.
so they don't
okay.
split as wide.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that red,
That was the thing I didn't want to do.
no. So that he's given that more pull than he would normally, and it hasn't pulled as much as he anticipated.
Yeah.
Quite a good black, and I still think they're going to go for this peel. I don't think they're going to get talked out of this.
I'll be amazed if I don't go for this peel and sort out how to make hoop 5 later. Although, if anybody wants to have a hoop 5 pioneer, I think it'll be Samir.
I mean, there's a perfectly legitimate line of peeling this, going to yellow, and then
It's okay. The further blue comes through towards 2-back, the better.
yeah, but you don't normally make hoop 5 off a peelee during a sex 2 pull.
Well, that is certainly true. Yeah.
That's the natural line of play here, and that you would make hoop 5, rush back over to 2-back, and do the 2-back peel to yellow that you've left in the vicinity.
But equally, you can adjust your thinking to, we want to get at least 2 peels and get to the peg.
Yep. Or in my mind, you can adjust your thinking to, I'm going to get no peels and go to 4-back,
Well, yes.
and have a hoop 5 pioneer.
Yeah, well, dare say, yeah, that's very sensible.
Because I've had various attempts over the last couple of days at peeling. I think I'm about 15% to get a peel from, I'm not talking about from 6 inches straight, but from, 2 feet, 10 degrees, with a split shot, hard.
Well, you've got to hit the right spot, haven't you, presumably, given the hoops are
Absolutely.
not easy.
It's just guesswork for me.
What about the lawns? How are they playing?
Very easily. So they had a bit of challenge to them on Saturday morning, sort of 12 seconds brownish, or brown and green, and firm hoops in fresh holes, reasonably challenging. And then we've had multiple sets of rain since then, and they're just quite difficult to rush the full length of the lawn.
Oh, really?
It's not just the lawns, it's the balls.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, to me, James would normally get this 80% of the time, and he's about 40 to 50% to get the peel.
Yeah.
Dead straight, nothing unusual about the peel. He's dead straight in front of it from fairly close.
Well, it's this hoop as well.
This hoop as well. But yeah, it could go through nowhere, sailing down to 2-back. But my experience is it tends to come back towards me.
Well, you need to be prepared to jump out of the way then, don't you?
Oh, he's got it.
He's got it, and he's played a pretty good
A
black.
very good shot.
Very
good
good
shot.
actually. Yeah.
I'm still not sure which of the balls he's going to make hoop 5 off.
Might be yellow.
It could be yellow. Nothing wrong with yellow.
Although you do want to get blue to
Yeah.
2-back, which you can do.
Yeah.
If you can get you. So probably, if they're going to get more peels, then the second one is going to be at 2-back. Straight peel at 2-back, I would think.
You don't think they might just play for the 2-back peel, getting a rush to 1-back? Because they should be able to get 3 peels if they do that.
Yeah, I suppose they could. should get 3 peels anyway.
If they do a straight peel,
Yeah.
they should. They should.
Depends to what extent you think you're putting the break at risk by not having a pioneer at one back.
I would suggest quite a lot.
Yeah, I thought you might. From what you've told me about Hoop 2, I would agree with you.
I mean, it is another day older, and we have had overnight rain again. And remember, the hoops get taken out overnight at Surbiton, so that rain will have penetrated the hoop holes.
Right.
So it is constantly softening the ground. Just checking here whether black's in a hole. They're just asking their opponents. James has marked it, and you can see it is in a big hole. We had quite an amusing incident on lawn 1 yesterday, where it was Jenny got 2.5 feet straight in front of hoop 6, and didn't notice she'd gone into a hole and played the shot, and it went 8 inches up one wire. Stephen replicated the shot after the game had finished and hit the crown.
Right.
Just with a normal stroke. So there are a few little holes around Surbiton. They have fox problems here.
Right.
So there's
yes,
little.
I know they have grills they
Yeah.
put over the hoop holes.
Yeah, metal grills about 18 inches square, just to stop the foxes penetrating the areas that are most at risk, which is where there's a hole to start with. At Nottingham, you've got squirrels.
Squirrels,
haven't
I
you?
was going to say, at Nottingham we have lots and lots of squirrels.
So James going back to blue here. If he gets the cannon, that would be a nice cannon to get, wouldn't it? He could do.
Well,
Yeah, shift it out of the way and.
well, if yellow's coming back down to 2 back, but I'm not sure it is.
I'm not sure
I
it
don't
is.
think it is.
I'm not sure it is.
This is where he wants blue rushing to, is it? To get it down there.
And then he gets a second chance to improve it, doesn't he? So you could maybe
Yeah.
rush it in front, take off to 1 back, where
Yeah.
he's got a pioneer,
Yeah.
but leave it, a few inches straight and for a rush peel. That's put another ball in his way to rush to hoop 5.
Yeah.
As well as obviously
Oh, yeah, of course, for 5.
they are for 5, yeah.
5. So, yeah, okay. So we could still be planning
Yep.
peel and rush to 1 back.
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually, without realising it, thinking of peeling and rushing to 6.
No.
What they could have done,
Indeed, they could have done.
which would be an easier rush
Yes. It's an easier hoop.
and an easier hoop. Yeah.
So you can just about squeeze blue past, as we look at it, the left-hand side of red. I think. It looks to me. It looks
Oh,
to
no,
me.
you're right. Yeah.
I think he's playing for the rush after hoop 5 to 2 back.
Do you?
Yep.
I'm not convinced yet.
Because it's quite a good one, isn't it?
It will.
It's sort of free one. So this is probably the right line of play. Miss everything.
Okay.
Run the hoop 5. Get a rush on blue to 2 back.
Okay. Well, I've
Peel it going to red.
come up with something else. You've got to put red somewhere. Where's red going?
It's a good shot. It's a really good shot.
Yeah, it's a good shot. So red's just coming over in the general direction of
A
hoop
couple of
1.
yards towards 2 back in a straight line.
Yeah.
Get a nice 6-inch hoop, run it with control, and this is really good. This is the safest option and the best option.
Yeah.
But it required several good shots, which they've made to look remarkably easy. Yep. That's really high quality play. Now, don't get a dead contact. Oh, he's done well. That's good. Good contact on it. You can play this straight. Don't even think about pull. Dead straight stop shot.
Yeah.
The only problem here is I want to play it at a pace where it's going to risk going off the lawn.
Oh,
I'm going to try and play it to finish
you're not
on the
trying
yard
to,
line.
You don't want it trundling into
No.
yours. That won't.
This
work.
can go half a ball if you play it at gentle pace.
Okay.
So I'm going to risk it going within the yard line if it gets no wire at all, which is unlikely.
And he's playing it straight by the look of it.
Yeah, Reg is really good at this shot. Lovely contact between the mallet and the ball, flat and straight.
Reg's technique is so good.
Yeah.
That's the key. Isn't
Oh,
it?
good
I mean,
shot.
I watched different code, but I watched the GC Open
Singles final.
Singles final.
Jamie and Reg.
Apart from running hoop 13, his previous stroke seemed to be about an 8-yard cuddle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was remarkable.
A wonderful touch player. People obviously think about Reg, and he can play jump shots from anywhere, and he's got lots of power. And fundamentally, the number one reason that he's really good is his touch is very good, and he takes position all the time. And I mentioned earlier how good Stephen's touch was, and how, despite the fact that some of his single ball strokes are starting to deteriorate, he's still incredibly difficult to beat because his balls are constantly in front of the hoop.
Yeah.
And that, it comes from lots of years of playing AC and the importance of a good touch there.
And my hobby horse, when I'm coaching people, is that the striking the ball properly has to be the foundation of that.
Jenny and myself went up to the northeast of England. It's my first visit to the northeast, and thanks very much to everyone up there for the hospitality. And we did 4 coaching sessions with over 20 people in each session. And I spent an hour and a quarter of each 3-hour session on ball striking. I explained to them that the top players, they don't spend all their time practicing 6-yard jump shots at golf, croquet, or sextuple peels at association. They spend it on ball striking. Can I hit my ball out of the middle of my mallet?
Yeah.
And it's so much more difficult than it sounds.
Yes.
Which I found myself having come back from a 5-year gap.
Sure.
So yeah, really going back to basics and really going through it step by step. And whilst very few people are ever going to end up with the perfect technique, if out of 7 things to improve upon, you can improve 2 areas, that's going to help all your game, all your consistency, from hitting it straight to hitting it harder to hitting it the right length, if you constantly strike your ball well. So 2 peels done.
It's very similar to putting in golf.
Yeah.
If you don't hit a putt with the sweet spot of the putter, then you find it won't go in the right direction, and it won't go as far as you think it's going to. And exactly the same sort of considerations apply in croquet.
And one back, not the easiest hoop to get a rush out of. They're both a bit nervy, and you want to approach it very close, and you don't want to run it with a too wibbly a shot. So quite a tough shot this, sending red down towards 3-back, going to blue.
Blue, yeah, that's right.
So
luckily, who's playing it?
Yeah, James have got lots of power. This is... I don't think I can get black to blue anymore. I think I can get about 3 yards north of it. That's about my personal limit. Whereas normally I could do anything I wanted. He's put it down a bad line, and he's overhit both balls, but it's okay. Black's perfect.
Well, red in a sense is irrelevant, because you're going to rotate it before blue. If you get blue positioned nicely,
It'd be a little bit nicer to have it in lawn.
It'd be nicer to have it more as a pivot, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but getting the rush on blue, so he's got this straight stop shot.
That's a bonus.
He'll get much more accuracy now on sending the peelie in front of 3-back. Oh, James has got the stop shot to play this, I think. Not quite as good a stop shot with these balls, is it? And he's left it 2 feet short.
He's not got the same mallet as he used to have.
I watched him. I think I watched him at the counties playing with oldish Dawsons, and he had still a fantastic stop shot. So I think these balls probably not quite as stoppy. That's
sort of laying up for a smash through to the boundary, isn't it?
I'd prefer to be a bit closer than that.
You can swap red and yellow over, can't you? You could have yellow as a sort of escape ball at 3-back and potentially send red to 4-back if you wanted.
I was thinking you don't need a 4-back partner, Keith. That's blue.
Okay.
So I was thinking about getting a rush out of 2-back to a position where I could bombard blue a couple of feet closer. If you get a good rush here and you rush it 2 yards west of blue and just bombard blue closer.
Do you think it needs it?
I do actually. I think it's 2.5 feet our way, and it's a very safe bombard.
Okay.
Now they haven't got a very good rush, but had they had a good rush, I think I would always have played for that, and going to red.
Sure. And then just put red.
2 escape balls, you know. Just
Okay.
blue's my 4-back Parnier. I'm going to be peeling from 3 inches dead straight.
Well, you hope you are.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Isn't
Yeah.
It? You don't know yet.
So don't hit it. Oh, it's hit it. So going to be moving black further than they wanted now, getting this rush on blue.
Yeah, they're coming across the rush line as well.
Yeah.
Which is, but you know, it's
It's been remarkably risk-free so far, which I've really appreciated.
yeah, that's where James wants it for a nice Irish peel, didn't he?
Yep.
This isn't easy, presumably.
Just a slightly dead contact on it. Now, this is the first time they've had to make a real choice, because this is putting the break at risk, taking this on as an Irish peel.
Yeah. And you could just decide to approach the hoop.
You could.
Put it to the side, make the hoop, and get the peel after the hoop.
Except you're going to be 4-back and peg.
Yeah.
Job done.
Yeah.
This is not just going to be an Irish peel, it's going to be a very firm Irish peel. So he's going to hit this.
Blue needs to make the hoop cleanly, otherwise it's going to get in the way of black, potentially.
So given the fact we know blue's going to hit the wire, you're probably hitting this at 30 yards worth of pace? 35? 30 probably.
Yes. You've got to line it up properly, then you've got to hit it straight.
Hit it straight's the difficult bit. Good shot.
He's played it brilliant.
Perfect pace as well.
And even better if they can roquet red. Which they can. Or can they?
But yeah, one of those shots where your ball striking, your technique's really tested, the Irish peel.
Yes.
Can you actually hit your ball down the right line? The way I think about it is any error you make on the shot is doubled.
That's right.
Because the ball splits out wider because it's a croquet stroke.
Yeah.
So it's twice as difficult as running a hoop. So they got to this sort of position in the first game on their quadruple. And it looked like they were playing for the bombard after 4-back. And they ended up just rushing it over. That's a pretty deep red.
That's quite deep.
And he hasn't got a great rush on yellow. I think that's the right place for yellow. I'm surprised they're moving this far. I'd have wanted much more control on over the black than taking off across the rush line here. You don't need yellow there.
No, no you don't.
You do need an absolute dolly rush on blue.
Yeah, you do. if you, I mean, that's a good
It's a
shot.
good
again.
shot.
Very
Good shot.
That's not as easy as he made that look.
No. That's good, isn't it? Just a little bit of hill to the left at the end, but
Yeah, slight angle.
and again the choice is stop shot and jump, or Irish mid-pace, maybe finishing in the jaws, which is what they tried last time.
And what happened?
I'm trying to think what happened. I think they got it and they ended up having to just hit their escape,
partner.
because it's too deep to bombard, and
Right.
yeah, they peeled it by too far
Okay.
to bombard. But James could easily play a stop shot and leave a jump if Samir's happy with that.
And if you get a jump and it doesn't hit blue, then you likely you get a rush on red to a position where you can do a bumper.
Exactly. Yeah. That looked like he was lining up for an Irish. He looked like he was putting more effort into the swing rather than one of his big stop shots. Yeah,
Sure,
it was
it
an
was a-
Irish. I think he's been
Lucky.
unlucky.
He was trying to get in the jaws.
Yeah.
I think.
Now, are they going to risk hitting yellow? Because red looks difficult. Blue might be difficult. So they might have to just shoot at yellow.
Blue shouldn't be difficult though, should it? Unless it's
It shouldn't be.
either ball's just lurched to the side.
So, just snicking yellow.
Oh, they're hitting blue. Are they hitting blue?
It's just it's probably gone 6 inches through, and he's got a 5 inches of mallet sticking through. You know, Samir's quite good at this length. Bobbly, wasn't it? I think you probably want to pass roll this across,
If you can.
and these balls
Yellow's-
do pass roll well.
Yellow's too far away to do a takeoff, isn't it?
I think so. I'm going to pass roll this, try and get it 3 yards east of level with hoop 6 as an
Yeah.
escape ball.
Yeah. Going to red.
Going to red. Rush red a bit towards the corner.
Yeah.
Stop it back towards yellow.
Yeah. And hope you get a good rush on blue.
Yeah. But they've already done a lot more than I thought they'd do. 4 peels.
Yeah, they've
It-
done very well.
In a
They need to
reasonably...
make sure they get to the peg.
They do.
And yet you can tell that they're still intent on
Yeah.
trying to finish.
The level of risk has been within my tolerance range, which is quite low. So it's been a very impressive turn. And I don't like
The
leaving
main
yellow.
exposure was hoop 5.
Sure. But wasn't that because he sent his hoop 5 pioneer into hoop 6? So it wasn't a tactical choice to
True.
leave him.
Yes.
It was a physical failing.
Yeah.
And we all have lots of physical failings. That yellow's a bit no man's landy, but so red
But
has to
having
be a
done
escape
that,
ball.
sorry, just come
Yeah.
back to red. Having put red there, they did have the option of putting blue at 5, going to yellow.
They did, but yeah.
I think, didn't they?
That
Yeah, they did. Anyway, they're here now, and yeah,
But
it's been
the-
very
the-
impressive.
they were trying to peel one back going to hoop 4. So
Yes.
they'd have thought, well, if I peel it by 15 yards, I could use that as my hoop 5 partner.
Yes.
A good red, nice side ball, a good rush. So this might be, yeah, Samir's looking at, can I rush to 2 yards? And James is going, well, actually, we'll rush to 2 feet away. And they got to this position in the first game, and I was explaining how when Reg rushed this a yard past the hoop at the resort at the mountain, just like Samir's done again. And I said, oh, I'm going to get a contact now. in good nick. And Reg still finished from here.
Right.
Which is quite difficult.
Yeah.
And the other thing I mentioned is that hoop 6 is pointing at a completely different angle.
Oh.
So if you peel Penult, it will finish 2 to 3 yards west of Rover.
Okay.
I don't think they'll be peeling Penult though. They could, and certainly at Super, getting to Rover and peg rather than Penult and peg is a big advantage.
Is it?
Because
You have to explain that to me
so at Super,
and our viewer.
against Penult and peg, I think the standard play is a different game. So first game they're on 1 and 4, so they had to give contact. And against Penult and peg, I was trying to say I always go around and peg them out and give contact.
Okay.
Whereas against Rover and peg, you don't really want to peg them out and just let them take position and get to peg. Here, because yellow's already made hoop 4 and has given a lift away, they're only really 1 lift shot away from winning still, aren't they?
Yes.
So it's less critical for these guys to get the Penult peel because the peg out's less threatening.
Blue, where's blue going?
I think they're starting to think about their contact leave.
Fair enough.
And one of the things I mentioned earlier is that because the opponent's clips are on the same hoop, you can't really leave either of the opponent's balls in that quadrant. And because 2 of the other quadrants have a lift corner in them, you can't easily leave their balls in that quadrant either. So you're starting to run out of quadrants to leave balls.
Well, yeah.
So what I came
always fire black off into corner 1 or corner 3.
Yeah.
But it's getting the others.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of was red and yellow across corner 4, 2 yards either side of corner 4, and blue 7 yards south of corner 3, and black in corner 1.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Where's this guy?
Now this tends to suggest that one of the opponent's balls going 7 yards north of corner 1 to me.
It does, doesn't it?
Sorry? I have no idea. Yes, I know I've seen it, but I don't even know.
Okay. So where are their balls going?
A corner 4 and corner 3 is an option.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Yellow's coming over here.
A little bit of an angle on this one. Yeah, James looks in great nick to me.
He does, doesn't he?
Really good nick.
He made that look easy.
I think what we're all thinking is, can it last 53 weeks or 55 weeks?
I'm sure some of us are. Some of us who are Mac selectors might be.
Yeah. So again, just for viewers at home who are wondering why we're putting this ball 7 or 8 yards north of the corner, if we put it too much closer to the corner, you can lift the ball into corner 1 and almost treat it as a rush to hoop 2.
Lift red.
Yeah. So if it was like 4 yards north of the corner, you could have a 4 yard cut rush to hoop 2. So that's why it's sort of 7 or 8 yards north. If you put it 10 or
further
12
it goes,
yards,
you
it starts
just
being a hoop
approach.
2 partner.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
So there's this halfway house that they're trying to find, the best of both worlds.
In the corner would have been the best, wouldn't it? If they could have managed it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not easy.
A lot more difficult to put it in the corner.
They could have rushed yellow over to the other side and left red here.
Yep.
Now where's this go?
Well, I thought this was the ball that was going to be 7 or 8 yards south of corner 3. But they do seem intent on having it further south than I anticipated.
So maybe red in the middle of this boundary, blue towards corner 4, do you think? And then black in corner 3?
Well, I don't like that because it allows you the option of lifting yellow, croqueting a ball from the ball in corner 4 to hoop 3, getting a rush on the other ball towards corner 3. And if you play a couple of good shots, you've got a break. They're not easy shots, I'll admit, but certainly looks like red's going
Not sure where red's
into
going.
yellow's quadrant.
That can't be right, can it?
Or is the last shot of the turn going to be a croquet stroke with both balls going off the lawn? So rush red all the way over here and smash them both off the lawn with a croquet stroke.
So where's black going then?
Well, he's definitely not going to peg himself out, is he? Is he just going to join these two balls up?
Okay, interesting.
I don't like that either. I don't like that.
Well, that's giving yellow a cut rush
Yeah, that's a rush.
towards one back.
Yeah. So,
That is what they're doing.
and if you were going to do that, surely blue would be better in the corner or further south.
We're not going to.
So they're moving it further north, which is a good thing.
Yes.
They're going to try not to hit the peg.
You would think. Yeah. And then black's going in corner 3.
Corner 3 looks like a sensible place for it. And they are now far enough apart that yellow won't take that as a rush, I think. But red could be a pioneer. You think Stephen's going to fancy contact from either blue or black? Roll it.
Who's to play? Can you remember?
That's a good question. So
This is one of the
happened?
features of alternate
It is.
stroke. You do need to remember
It is, remember.
who's got to play.
So we had. They just made a leave, didn't they? So I've got no idea who played the last shot of the leave, because it was just a diagonal spread. So I can't remember.
Yeah, that's a good. No, I can't remember either.
Stephen looks like
So,
yeah. He played a huge role earlier after they from hoop 2, sending a ball to hoop 4, going to a ball level with hoop 4 on the east boundary, which is out of my range at the moment. And he got within 3 yards of it, and it's a good shot. So if you can play that, can he just lift yellow, take contact from blue, send blue's 2 back, go to red, and roll off 1 back?
they're playing red.
It's a strange ball to play, unless he's just going to make a leave. And there's nothing wrong with just making a leave here. You want to send black to hoop 2 though, don't you? Because that's the ball you want to force to play.
Yeah, well, so this is just a take-off then.
So that in that case you have to leave blue down in corner 4 and roll up towards corner 2 and leave a rush to hoop 2. Leave a rush to 1 back, I should say. But then blue still plays, doesn't it? Because they know they want yellow to play. They don't care about giving red a break. I'm not sure about this. You can't move blue off the yard line very much going to yellow.
No. Stephen can roll it somewhere though.
But you don't want to roll blue anywhere because you don't want blue
You
to
just
play.
Yeah, exactly.
So leaving blue where it is best.
Unless you roll it.
No, he's doing the right thing. This is the right thing. I'd argue you even want to move it a yard south.
Yes, rather than north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's way too far north for my liking.
He's got a rush on yellow though. Oh no, he hasn't. It's pulled up.
Yeah, they're not quick. But they were very nice on Saturday morning. Quite challenging with the fresh hoop holes.
That's a good shot from Jenny.
Yeah.
That's going to definitely
Tempt them.
to approach.
And
if they actually did get in,
they're
going
going
to get a break, are they going to peg black out?
peg it out every time.
Right.
Yeah, super advanced. This is an automatic peg out. One back and peg v penult. Give contact. That was a very ambitious spot to aim for.
It did. That's exactly what I was thinking. You're setting yourself up for...
Yeah, the one thing I want to do here is I want to get yellow on the correct side of the hoop. So I've got a chance of a rush out the hoop. And it's runnable.
It is.
It's going to be a really good shot to run that by more than a foot.
Okay.
You have to absolutely get this right. Oh, it's a super shot.
It's a super shot.
Absolutely nailed it. So no one's run it from anywhere near there, this tournament that I've seen so far. And the fact that Stephen's got a good yellow means he's got a very useful rush now. Lots of people approach that defensively, sending yellow to the west, and after they've run the hoop, they've got nothing.
Pointless, almost. Now, what's achievable here, do you think?
I would have thought you could rush this to black.
Do you want to rush it to black, or just rush it across the lawn and put it to 4 going to blue? Bank on approaching.
No, I want a rush on black to hoop 3.
Okay, well,
that's a good shot. That's a super shot.
That is a super. That's an amazing shot, actually.
Once I've got my dolly rush here,
yeah,
I can pick a break up with just with precision.
Okay.
Blues might not even be on the yard line.
Probably isn't.
Yeah. No,
given where it was sent from.
Yeah, given that your extra foot you get gives you a lot more room, that extra foot.
Or you can use the manoeuvre of putting a reception ball behind 4 and rushing blue to the side of 4 and croquet it to 5. First things first, though. We're leaving the ball behind here, aren't we? Temporarily, at least.
Do you think I'm right in that they might be trying to bombard black to hoop 3 here?
I kind of hope they're not, for their sake, but is that a sensible thing to do? What does that gain you?
I can't believe he's doing this.
What does that actually gain you? Because yellow will stop basically where black is.
Well,
or squeeze out a bit or something. It's not.
I don't know. They got yellow further out than they would have done otherwise there, but they didn't get a rush to hoop 3 very well.
That was the thing they needed, though.
That's in my opinion. Yeah, I just want a pure precision pickup.
Are they planning on croqueting black down to running the hoop and hitting yellow after running the hoop?
No,
surely
no.
not.
They'll get a rush back to yellow here.
Well, okay. Well, they could have done that anyway, couldn't they?
I'd like to be approaching this from 2 feet in front.
Yeah.
rather than 4 feet to the side, given the fact this is where they broke down in game 1 by having to approach and finishing with a hoop like this and running it by a few inches and missing a hampered shot. So now they haven't got a rush back, but it's going to be good enough. Oh, it's interesting. They like the takeoff here. I'd have rushed that back
Well,
and
yellow,
croqueted it
I think
out.
yellow's come in quite a bit.
I'd just rather play a sort of stoppy shot than a takeoff.
Okay. There's plenty of room behind it though. This needs to be quite good. Although it does look a fairly straight rush.
And this is absolutely on the limit of my power, rushing yellow to blue. That's pretty much on the limit of Jenny's power. Finish rushing at 8 yards short. It's sort of going back to the balls.
Yeah.
We weren't simply talking about this elite level of play. We were talking about if we're thinking about really making the move in England to these Invictus balls, do we want to make it so much more difficult for the handicapped 8s and 12s at the club to either rush balls around at AC or clear balls at GC? That's a good shot.
That is a good shot. Yeah, that's a very good point, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be fun for the majority of players, not just the top
Yes,
level.
you think most sports, you think about tennis or golf, where the golf club heads of the drivers have got bigger, so any hacker can sort of get it down the fairway, and the tennis racket where you've got a sweet spot that's now 5 times bigger than it used to be able to, and even when you don't hit it in the middle, it sort of goes round. This looks tricky. She's jumping, and she's gone to Solomon grip, and this is a jump shot. This is very difficult. And blue's nearby. No. And to be fair to Stephen, it was a worse rush from Jenny than Stephen's hoop approach. Jenny left him a lot further away from that than I think he wanted to be.
Yeah.
He had a sort of drivey shot rather than a stop shot.
Yes. And you want to move red a relatively short distance. Getting blue to 5's not really the issue, is it?
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, a poor rush from Jenny, a poor approach from Stephen, and the hoop shot was not easy. And we may end up with a plus 17. Elegant scoreline.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not just thinking about the elite end of the game, but thinking about club players, try and make the balls as playable as possible without making them... You know, we could have smooth croquet balls, couldn't we? But the reason we have milling is to make it a bit more difficult, to add pull. Bob Jackson did his octuples with smooth balls.
Did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Back-to-back octuples with small balls,
Right.
with smooth balls.
Jakes did make a smooth ball.
Yeah, and they're
in
just
the early 80s.
they're not very good. And you pick these Invictus balls up, and they're beautifully milled. They're lovely craftsmanship. There's no seam on them. They're very, very good. But do they rush well enough? Is there too much pull? / are they too expensive?
Is there an alternative? on the market at the
Sunshine
moment?
is half the price. Played with them in 2003.
We've got Sunshinies at Nottingham.
Nottingham and
Yeah,
Cheltenham
I
have
know.
got them. Very, very little milling on them.
Relatively. Yeah.
Even brand new.
Mm-hmm.
So less pull. Makes peeling a bit easier. Is it too easy? Who knows? That's the obvious alternative. I was mentioning earlier Peter Cole, the Australian who makes the Hoopmaker mallet. He's been very popular at clubs, isn't it, the Hoopmaker?
Definitely.
He's about to, I think, produce a new croquet ball.
Is he? Oh, okay.
So, you know, we are in a time of flux with the Dawsons going through some production glitches, challenges. What ball is going to come out on top for the next quarter of a century? Because Dawsons have been a really good ball for 20 plus years, haven't they?
Yes. Well, this looks like the death knell.
And a no-error match, would you say? Oh no, they failed one back. They failed one back, didn't they? Just before you arrived. That's the one error they've made. So given that this isn't the easiest playing conditions, and they've tried to do some quite exciting things during both games, a really strong performance.
Yeah.
And could be a Matt Robertson Shield pairing. Who knows?
Who knows? So that was plus 17. What was the first game?
Plus 23.
Plus 23. So a fairly convincing win.
Yep. Yeah, worthy
Just
winners.
Through the protocols there of who gets a handshake and who gets a kiss and
Indeed.
a hug and
I don't know how many times James and Samir have won that championship, but it's adding up for a few now.
It is.
And yeah, really good performance. Looking forward to seeing James playing well in the singles, and I think what we're all hoping is to see Robert Fulford play well in the singles.
Excited to see Robert Fulford play. Just to see Rob playing is a treat.
Because you see things you haven't thought about before.
Yes.
Different ways of creating leaves and new leaves, and I'm concerned.
Attention to detail.
Yeah.
Is how I would describe it.
I'm concerned that with his wrist problems and his lack of power, these balls reacting soggily will be negative to him. And the greater pull will make his peeling turns more difficult.
In Rob we trust,
and
Chris. He will find a way.
Whether it's the
time
fact
and time again, he finds a way.
His peeling turns will become more full of straight stop shot peels. Who knows?
So the main single starts tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow.
But the live stream won't resume until Saturday. Is that right?
I don't know. Singles Saturday.
We're getting a nod from the director that it's going to be Saturday.
So semi-finals on Saturday.
Yes.
And look forward to all our viewers.
Are you going to be returning to the microphone?
I'm planning to.
Yes.
I'm planning to, and hopefully you're here as well. I think Jack.
I am planning to.
Jack can't join us this year, I'm told.
No,
it's a shame.
Unfortunately not. No.
He was very good with his stats last year and insights.
Yes, yes. He's got a very sharp croquet brain, as Mr. Wicks, in my experience.
But yeah, lots of really strong players here. Should be a really good tournament. Keep up to date with us on Croquet Scores in the meantime. But otherwise, thanks, Keith, for your
You're
time.
welcome.
And
Pleasure.
enjoy
you,
your week and good luck in the singles.
Thanks very much.